Major Russian airstrikes across Ukrainian cities, including the capital, Kyiv. Ukrainian officials say at least 85 missiles have targeted the country's energy infrastructure. Ukraine is reporting widespread power outages now. This Russian barrage of airstrikes started, of course, after Ukraine took back the city of Kherson last week.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.
All right, so welcome back, Truth Seeker. There's headlines all over like this that say Russian missiles hit Poland. And then you go to the story and there's no video, there's no evidence, but the headline is there. And I'm sure as the day goes on, the footage will manifest itself. But this pattern is something we talked about earlier this year on March 9th, 3/9, when the big news story was that the U.S. sent missile systems to Poland because of Russia-Ukraine. And I said, wow, what a day to send missile systems to Poland on March 9th, 3/9, like how in 1939, emphasis on 39, World War II began when Hitler invaded Poland. So guess how many days it is today that the headline breaks that missiles have hit Poland, or how many days after Putin's birthday it is, I should say. Let's go down here. Vladimir Putin, born October 7th, 1952, from his birthday to today, the supposed missile strikes in Poland, it's 39 days later. And again, just to remind you, Vice President Kamala Harris broke the news about the Patriot missile systems being sent to Poland on March 9th, 3/9. Now, in addition to this being 39 days after Putin's birthday, another pattern we've talked about all year in the build-up to World War III is the number 183. And notice the president of Poland, Andrzej Duda, from his May 16th birthday to today's news is 183 days later. And remember, the people who instigate these numerical rituals that we call world wars are from secret societies that go by the motto, order out of chaos. And again, here we are just after the anniversary of the conclusion of World War I, which ended on 11/11 at 11 a.m., they say. That's a whole lot of ones to conclude World War I, where, of course, 11 is the master number in numerology. But again, in this numerological language of letters and numbers, which comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, and again, they say all wars are bankers' wars, and who controls the majority of banks in the world? Again, Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. That's where this whole thing of numbers and words comes from. But anyway, this pattern of 183 we've been talking about all year, the phrase order out of chaos equals 183. Again, that's the motto for the Jesuits and the Masons. And the word chaos alone is 46. And today, November 15th, is the day leaving 46 days left in the year. 8 years ago on this day, I came home and found out that my house had been ransacked and destroyed and everything of value stolen, and what was left was broken. And I guarantee you it was for sharing this work and knowledge, because it was right after I had investigated the local school shooting at the time in Washington State, right before the vote on gun reform. Again, a reported mass shooting, which made no sense in Washington State at Marysville-Pilchuck High School. Anyway, 183 days after his birthday. And, just to show you one of the many 183 things we talked about, at the time, they said this was one of the deadliest attacks on Ukraine by Russia. It was a missile strike 183 days after Putin's birthday. Missile strike 183, Vladimir Putin 183, Pearl Harbor 183. Again, Pearl Harbor was a major order out of chaos event. And let's not forget that Biden and Putin chose to meet last year on Pearl Harbor Day anniversary of all days, December 7th, 2021, to discuss what was going on in Ukraine with Biden telling Putin not to invade. Again, these numbers have been all over the ritual. Remember, Biden even dropped the 18.3 cent gas tax to help us with inflation. So again, all year I've been a broken record, you guys. They've been doing rituals all year in tribute to World War history. And it was so obvious what they did on March 9th. And I still remember people who left comments are like, are you kidding me, man? You really think that they did that in tribute to World War II? It's just like, what else do you think they're doing? See, that's the problem. The reason people leave comments like that is because they're so invested in all the lies. They are so invested in all the lies. They believe the word with lie right in the middle. They believe the news, the government, all these authorities. They're so invested in. So for those types of people, now you have another major coincidence to shrug off, you know, that we just happened to hit Poland, who's been a big focus this whole time, 39 days after Putin's birthday, or supposedly Putin hits Poland. And here, on top of that, you want to know what else is going on today? The date numerology. The date numerology is 48. 48. World War equals 48. So does Freemason. So does Illuminati. Again, the same people who denounce this information are the same ignorant people that don't realize the Illuminati is a real thing. Established May 1st, 1776. Even our nation's first president, George Washington, has a letter in the National Archive about his concerns about the Illuminati infiltrating Freemasonry, which he's a member of. And again, I know how dense people are in this nation. My own sister thinks that Freemasonry is a conspiracy theory. A real thing that's in every city in America, my sister thinks is a conspiracy theory. She doesn't even think Freemasonry is a real thing. That's how dense my sister is, who's a very typical American. Just so ignorant, just denounces reality as conspiracy theory. Again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And that's who runs this whole show. Jesuits and Masons. DC is the Masonic city where the Jesuits have been in the city for longer than the Feds or the Masons. And of course, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Also, today's date numerology, it's not just 48, it's also 68. And remember, the longest chapter in Art of War, which was translated by the Jesuit priest, Father Amiot, the longest chapter is 68 paragraphs. So many war rituals was 68. We talked about how the whole Russia-Ukraine thing popped off on a 68 date numerology. For people who do not know, World War I and World War II began on 68 date numerology, and World War II began 68 years after Albert Pike penned his letter. It was August 15th, 1871. Look it up. Albert Pike's letter about 3 world wars was dated on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th. Of course, he was a prominent Freemason. That's why he has he's the only Confederate statue in DC, because he's a Freemason and it's the Masonic city. He's considered one of the most important Masons in American history. But Albert Pike, he's got his letter about 3 world wars, and the bigger of those 2 world wars so far started exactly 68 years after the letter was written. Again, we've been talking about all this stuff all year. And all year they've been saying that if Putin attacks Poland, then all the NATO countries will respond and attack Russia. And what's it up to now? Is it up to 33 countries in NATO? So, again, all the numbers we've been talking about all year long. And here, even go back to this thing right here, when they were saying this was one of the worst things Putin did earlier this year, it was on April 8th. It was on 4/8, you know? Well, let's not forget Russia also equals 48. How could I forget? Russia, 48. So, here, if you guys are new here, Donald Trump's going to make his big announcement today. And again, for years I've been talking about his connections to 48 and 68. They call him Mr. Russia. If you're new here, Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Donald Trump is 48 in the most pure cipher, 60 in reverse. The next presidential election will be the 60th U.S. presidential election. Let's not forget his wife fell down the stairs and died 60 weeks after the first Jesuit Ignatian year ever began. And that was the same day that the conservative report came out against him involving 60 cases. And it was the same day he hinted that he would run in this election. And if Biden does not finish his term, Trump very well could become number 48. Remember, Grover Cleveland's the only president to have a split term, and Trump's 2016 convention was in Cleveland. But Donald John Trump, his full name, is also 68. So on the 48-68 date numerology, again, you got Russia news with rumors of world war. You got Donald Trump, and it's just like every other day in the news. It rolls out by the numerical code every single day. And I have books about these patterns. I have a million videos about these patterns. And yeah, it's really frustrating to watch this stuff go on and realize that we could be on the verge of another world war, and humanity could have stopped it if they would have just pulled their head out of their ass for a minute and not been like, oh, numerology, how stupid. Numerology. It's like, have you ever thought about anything? 11/11 at 11 a.m. World War I begins? That's a lot of ones. What is 11 in numerology? Oh, it's the master number. My dad made me laugh this weekend. He said he was listening to some radio show. My dad calls out this weekend. He goes, he reminded me of my girlfriend when I was 15 years old. I talked to my dad every Sunday. He goes, I was listening to some radio show, and they said that if you ever look at a clock at 11:11, you should make a wish. I said, yeah, I had a girl tell me that when I was 15 years old, Dad. My dad just turned 70 recently. Well, almost. Actually, I take it back. He'll turn 70 in April. He's almost 70. But he goes, yeah, so it was funny. I heard that on the radio, and then it was like the next day I happened to look at the clock, and it was 11:11, and I made a wish. I said, oh, well, don't tell me what it was or it won't come true. But yeah, I mean, it's just, people need to wake up. The people who rule over us, they are numerologists. What is etched on the temples of Freemasons? All is number. And for the record, you guys, Masonry equals 39. What's it based in? The 39 books of the Old Testament? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very Jewish, just like Kabbalah is Jewish, Gematria is Jewish, Masonry is Jewish. The concept of banking, it's Jewish and Catholic, like the Jesuits, the world's first bankers, the Templars, the military order of the Catholic Church, the Jesuits who have the Templar cross in their logo. Must just all be a coincidence, But yeah, it's so frustrating, you guys. It is so frustrating to just watch this stuff go on, and somehow, some way, as we prove it every single day, that the work just doesn't spread to the people it needs to spread to. Yeah. I know a lot of you guys are asking about Jay Leno. I put up a post about that yesterday. Of course, Jay Leno's back in the news on the 201st day of his age, just like how Biden and Putin met 201 days after the Jesuit Ignatian year began. If you guys are new here, all of these numbers are very relevant to Judaism and the Jesuits. And again, the Jesuits are the Catholic military order that was founded by Jews who converted to Catholicism. Ignatius Loyola, Mr. 201 himself, or in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Again, go back and see everything that I showed at the beginning of this whole thing, how it was synced up with the Superior General of the Jesuits and Pope Francis. Here, Arturo Sosa just turned 74 years old, which is a super special number. I just pointed this out over the weekend when he turned 74. They're the Society of Jesus, Jesus Cross, Gospel, Parables, Messiah. All those words are 74. Occult, Masonic, Jewish, killing. But his birthday is November 12th. Just to remind you how this all unfolded. November 12th, 2021. 2022, remember, order out of chaos. We're talking about 183. When you run it into verses 222, that was the day that Russia put their troops into Ukraine. And that was the day Biden addressed the nation at 2:22 p.m. sharp. They're not into numbers, you guys. Biden's just getting up there at 2:22 p.m. sharp on 2/22 by accident. And not to mention, I wrote a book that came out in 2020 called Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, and why the pandemic was declared exactly 222 months after 9/11 happened. Wuhan coronavirus 222, New York 222, and a million other things. But anyhow, those 102 days later mean everything. Because look, art of war is 102. Just like how 9/11 was simulated June 1st, 2001, 102 days before the attack that they said lasted 102 minutes. And every time I say things like that, people are like, how do you know the attack lasted 102 minutes? It's like, well, did you try typing it in? 9/11, 102 minutes. Let me see what happens if I take those 5 seconds to, oh my God, there's a film called 102 Minutes that changed America. Again, you guys, there's this thing out there called a search engine. You might have heard of the name before, Google. If you type things into it, well, they do censor a lot of information now, but if you do type some things in it, some answers still come up. So, but yeah, it's not just that, let me type it right. It's not just that it was 102 days after the Superior General's birthday that the whole Russia-Ukraine thing popped off. It's also that it was on 222 and the title Superior General equals 222. When you run it the other way, it's 183, just like order out of chaos. And notice the 84, just like Jesuit, just like the Jesuit orders 84, just like the Catholic Church is 84. Putin, or hold on, I'm tripping. It's Vladimir. It's Vladimir Putin. That's what it is. Vladimir Putin's also 84 and 183. You see? You ever heard that George Orwell back 1984 about the society ruled over by lies and propaganda and screens, and that's always at war? The red and black cover, the original one, like the Jesuits, like the Nazis. Again, Putin invades Poland in 39. Now Putin's in Poland 39 days after his birthday. Ever heard about all the businessmen in the U.S. who collaborated with the Nazis and made a whole bunch of money, like the Bush family? Ever heard there's a big club and you're not in it? Ever heard of the New World Order, which the Bushes couldn't get out of their mouth? Oh, these are all conspiracy theories. I don't want to listen to these conspiracy theories. Vladimir Putin's a bad guy. God bless America. Yeah, and you're the product of the deliberate dumbing down of the nation. So here, and I just want to show you the kind of stuff that's frustrating. I recently went on somebody's live stream. They had a video up called Gematria, making fun of how this knowledge is so stupid and it's completely pointless and it sucks people into something that's schizophrenic and there's never been a bigger waste of time. It's just like, how can you be saying this stuff in 2022 when we've helped people pad their pockets, break out of their slave job, break out of the matrix of politics and sports and fear-based propaganda. And then again, I was just watching the guy's stream before I even got on there. He's telling his audience, all you can do in this world is find peace by believing in Jesus. Not to mention in his backdrop, he has a big 201 behind his head, the number of the Society of Jesus. But yeah, I just want to show you guys why I'm frustrated. I'm going to show you a recent video this guy made over the weekend. He keeps putting up these videos trying to make fun of Gematria. It's just like, dude, while you're sitting here telling your audience to just wait on their knees for Jesus and all you can do is believe in Jesus, who just doesn't seem to show up for anything. He wasn't here for World War I. He wasn't here for World War II. He hasn't been here for any of the wars that have been going on in the world, all the needless death and killing. I'm sure there's been a lot of people praying to Jesus, but Jesus just hasn't shown up. But anyway, again, you guys, this is why I don't like religious people. They are part of the problem. They're telling people to believe, the word with lie in the middle, believe in children's stories that don't make any sense. You know, I mean, the story of Jesus is that God, you know, the best he could do for humanity was to send a mortal man to earth to die on his cross for your sins. I mean, if you really think that's the best God can do, I don't know what to tell you. But again, meanwhile, while Jesus isn't here doing anything, and people like me are dedicating, you know, decades of their life to try and wake people up to stop this kind of stuff, you got people with their hands in their pockets, not helping in any way. And again, you know, it's like the people who seem to be most invested in trying to make a contribution about Gematria are people who want to talk shit about it. And I will give credit to this guy. You know, he plays the guitar nice. But yeah, I just want to, like, why is this even happening? Why is somebody making a video like what I'm about to show you rather than being like, you know what? I should probably be telling my audience about this. You know, I can believe in Jesus over here. I can keep believing in Jesus. And I see why people believe in Jesus. Like, you know, it's kind of the ignorance is bliss thing, you know, delude yourself, ignore the truth, just give yourself some nice, happy thought. And I can't, it's amazing that you guys can't figure it out. Every criminal in this world's all about Jesus. Every president criminal that goes into the nation puts their hand on the Bible and swears themselves into office, talks about how much they believe in Jesus. You know, nearly every president's all about Jesus. And you guys just can't figure it out that that's probably not the truth. You know, the name promoted by every major fraud and criminal that's ever been on the screen. Anyhow, here's another Jesus guy. And I mean, if you know my work, just listen to the song. It's like, where are these lyrics adding up with my work? Every day I look at these news stories and it adds up in 5 seconds, you know, every day. It's not like I'm having to search and scour all day to make it all line up. No, it lines up day after day. I'm presenting what they're doing to us that people aren't seeing. So anyway, here's one of these Jesus people, and this is why there will be another world war, because everyone sat around and waited for Jesus and made fun of the truth. So all you Jesus people, take note. Here we go. But I will give credit where it's due. Nice work on the guitar and the song. It's too bad the message isn't better. Here we go. This is what's wrong with the world right here. This is why there will be a World War III, because people just couldn't see what was obviously coming, and they didn't do anything to stop it. They just waited for somebody else to come save them, something that was never going to happen.
When nothing quite adds up and the numbers just ain't talking, should I run them through the cipher again? Or maybe I should go out walking. Yeah, I'm looking for a sign. A set of 33s will do. I'd even take a 9 to see you again, my sweet Gematria. And now I watch the news, try to decode the headlines, make a post and blame the Jews. But now I'm getting older, gotta preserve my legacy of truth in a terabyte-sized folder to see you again, my sweet Gematria.
Okay, so there's your typical Christian.
YouTube TV has no hidden.
And again, I mean, it's annoying, you guys. It's annoying that there's more people in the world invested in making fun of this work and putting their own little bullshit spin on it. But no, I've been here for 10 years straight, and I've never once ever tried to like contrive a story to make it fit. And I'm telling you, it takes seconds to just, once you're aware of the information, it takes seconds to look at these stories and see what they did. And over and over. I mean, how many correct predictions do we have for Russia-Ukraine? Not only did I explain what would happen on February 22nd before it happened, I said why that would be the day that everything would pop off, dead on. There's been all sorts of days we've circled where I've said, expect this story out of Russia-Ukraine, boom, 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 you know, and I've just even stopped looking at it because it's like no one cares. It's not doing any good to make these accurate predictions. It's not like the work's spreading or more people are supporting the work. But again, you know, just seeing this thing with Poland, I've been waiting for this one all year because we knew it was coming. And it's like, of course it is. Of course it is 39 days after Putin's birthday, just like what we talked about back on March 9th, you know. And that's what's sad. I mean, the average American has no clue about any years, any dates. I mean, if I go out on the street and survey an American, What was the first country that Hitler invaded to start World War II? I'm probably going to have to survey 1,000 people before one person comes up with the right answer. And then to ask them what year it was in, it's probably going to take another 1,000 people. So, again, that's why we got the phrases all around us. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And these people just love to rub our nose in it. And also another breaking headline right now is Kevin McCarthy is going to be the Speaker of the House. When you think McCarthy in politics, what's it remind you of? McCarthy in politics. Does that remind you of anything from history? Anyone ever heard of McCarthyism? McCarthyism. If you don't know about this, McCarthyism, the Red Scare, back when communism was a bigger threat to America. Now we got China and Russia and rumors of world war against these communist nations. And McCarthy's becoming the Speaker of the House on the exact same day that this is happening, that this thing they've been talking about all year, which could be the precursor to World War III, one of the NATO countries getting attacked by Russia. What a strategic attack by Putin to attack a farm in Poland. Like, that doesn't sound like a load of shit false flag. And let's not forget that earlier this year, on the anniversary of the 93 World Trade Center bombing, all day they showed us a building supposedly in Ukraine. Could have been in a Hollywood studio for all we know. But it's supposedly been hit by a missile, and it looked a lot like what the World Trade Center looked like on the day of 9/11, where, of course, the 93 World Trade Center bombing was the big precursor. So, anyhow, shout out to Mr. Scott. I appreciate the super chat. Mr. Scott, always very generous. And yeah, in case you guys got here late, just one more time, just the recap of why this news matters today. Just two patterns we've been talking about all year. Again, it's 183 days after Poland's president's birthday. The phrase order out of chaos is 183, just like chaos is 46. The name Vladimir Putin's 183. Pearl Harbor's 183. Again, Biden and Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day to discuss what was going on in Ukraine before the whole conflict. There's been a lot of little rituals with this number all throughout the year with this supposed Russia-Ukraine thing, which we've been documenting. And then even more important than that is, again, it's 39 days after Putin's birthday. World War II began in 39 when Hitler invaded Poland, and they've been comparing Putin to Hitler all year. And then also, again, the date numerology is 4868, which was the date numerology for the start of World War I and World War II. World War equals 48, and the longest chapter in Art of War, which also equals World War in Gematria, is 68 paragraphs. And don't ever forget what happened in 1968. Pretty much all the agendas that we're now living out went into motion. But again, everything about 9/11 began in 1968. World Trade Center construction, 9/11 made the code. George W. Bush out of Yale Skull and Bones, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. I guess while I'm on here, just one more thing that was in the news that broke last night that they're also talking about today. The acting Uvalde police chief came out and said that the police knew that children were in desperate need of help, even though they stood down for 77 minutes, like police officer and police department and secret society equals 77. And here we are 77 years after the conclusion of World War II in 45. But the day that he came out and said this was the day leaving 47 days left in the year. And of course, policeman, cop, authority, government, they all equal 47. The word beast is 47. It was 174 days after the incident. Number of the beast, 174. His name also equals number of the beast. And I documented this earlier this year. They put out a 4-minute and 7-second clip at first of the Uvalde situation. 4 minutes and 7 seconds. And again, And it began at 11:28 on the clock, where 11:28 is the 47th triangular number. Again, and if you're new here, I mean, all these numbers are very important to these secret societies. So, anyhow, for all of you people who just sat on your hands all these years and denounced the work I've been putting out and criticized me and said, oh, I mean, all we need to do is believe in Jesus. Well, again, when the next group of youngsters are getting sent off to get blown up and become cannon fodder in the next needless war, just remember, Jesus didn't show up again. And maybe you should switch up your philosophy and spiritual beliefs. You can keep believing in nonsense, which does nothing for anybody, but, you know, essentially keeps the tyrants right where they want to be, ruling over, millions of people at once, where most of them don't think they can do anything, and all they can do is believe in things like Jesus, or you can become part of, the truth seeker brigade, if you will, like us, and get out and try to wake people up and change the world. And I know what the morons will say. Well, they'll say, well, Zach, you haven't changed the world. Yeah, I haven't changed the world because not enough people are out there helping. I guarantee you had a lot more people been doing what I was doing for the last 20 years. I've been speaking out since 9/11 happened. I guarantee you the world would be a lot different place. Guarantee a lot of bullshit would be shut down, and from news media to rigged sports games to bullshit politics, I guarantee it'd all be over with. These corporations that poison everybody every day, they'd all be out of business. The criminals would be out of business. It'd be a whole different ball game. So I think Jesus would come down and tell some of his minions, maybe you guys should stop putting so much Coca-Cola in your mouth. You know that company's evil. It's turning your body to shit. You're going to have diabetes. It's funny, you think Jesus would give him some tips. Anyway. Here, Emmanuel Giovanni, who just left this comment, I put up on the screen. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except him. Here's what I want you to do, Emmanuel. I'm going to open up the phone for just you. Just you. You get to call in and represent all the Christians right now. You got to call in and represent them. We got to do it one more time, because what I'm saying to you is you're the problem. All you religious people are the problem. You're all just sitting there believing the bullshit that was spoon-fed to you from the time you were a child to make you the passive little thing you are, to wait for the Savior that's never coming so that the evil tyrants can rule over you and slap you in the face every day, and you can keep giving Caesar what's his. Hold on. You better call in, buddy. You better call in. I'm opening up the line for you right now. Okay. 509-560-4982. 509-560-4982. I'm showing you every day what the Society of Jesus is doing, from murdering people to instigating wars. And here you are telling me that Jesus is the way, in all caps. So call in and back it up. All right, we got a call. Hopefully this is Emmanuel right here. Is this Emmanuel?
No, it's not Emmanuel.
So why'd you call in? Emmanuel, don't let people call in and speak for you. I want to hear from the most outspoken Jesus trumpeter, Jesus trumpeter in the chat right now in all caps. Where's Jesus? Why isn't Jesus doing something right now to stop this? It's just like when I was in Buffalo. The rudest person there was this Christian woman who's probably used to talking down to men in her community, because we know what's going on in black communities. They've destroyed the male in the black community. Almost everyone's raised by their grandma or their single mother. But she got out there and started shouting me down and told me to be quiet. She was out there for the church. This was her neighborhood. It's like, okay, so you're out here leading a prayer to Jesus. I'm out here showing you what just really happened to your neighborhood, She's probably in her Buffalo Bills jersey on Sunday crying about the upset to the Vikings, probably praying to Jesus that they win the football game. Emmanuel, are you going to call in? Oh, Emmanuel's not in the U.S. He can't call in. Okay, I'll elect one person to call in and represent Emmanuel's position because we know the Jesus freaks are always out there. I want someone to explain how Jesus is the way. Where is Jesus? I mean, how long are we going to keep doing this shit? Jesus. I'm just tired of making a video and the first comment, some Jesus person. All you need is Jesus. You know? Every Jesus moron making a video about me, accusing me of being Jewish. You think Jesus would come down and tell him, Zach's not Jewish. He's not even circumcised. He was raised in the church. Zach's just a lot smarter than you. You know? I wish Jesus would come down and tell him that. 214.
Sorry, yeah, I'm not like, I mean, I'm a Christian, but to be honest, the whole like Trump image and the whole Republican Party takes the name. You know, they just ruined it. You know, like look at all the wars they did. But like I'm saying that, why didn't do you think the Jesuits maybe like Jesus was something kind of like good, like any religion, but like you know, there's always some Illuminati.
Here, again, when it comes to Jesus, you guys, let's just remember the facts. There's no historical record anywhere Jesus ever existed. And in the book about him, there's almost no physical description of the person. You think that's, I mean, there's so many pages there and no physical description. That's pretty amazing. 260 chapters in the New Testament and almost no physical description of Jesus. Just what somebody saw in their dream, which is Revelation 1:14 through 16. You don't sound like you're representing Emmanuel's position, though.
No, I mean, I do, but like, to be honest, people like him that are like, oh, walking with Jesus and we support Trump, those people are really support Satan, in my opinion, because like, you know, look at the whole Trump shot thing. Like, how is that not, you know, those people like, I think, you know, I mean, you could be right, but like, you know, like, and then I just think at the same time, like the Jesuits probably had some sort of, you know, thing that they turned evil. And that's why people, when they have Santa Claus, you know, they don't follow the other Freemason shit, you know?
Right. Almost, right. They got almost everyone celebrating Santa on what isn't even Jesus' real birthday, a reshuffling of the letters of Satan.
In the spring, you know, it's the whole Freemason pagan ritual thing, you know?
Isn't it? Don't you find it interesting that in the most simple cipher, Jesus equals Lucifer equals Masonic equals occult equals Jewish equals cross equals killing?
I put in the chat, and maybe if he was real, I mean, I wasn't there, but if he was, his name wouldn't be Jesus, because you say they do rituals with the names and history and all that stuff. So I think even the name Jesus is probably not, even if he was real, his name probably wouldn't be Jesus.
Right. It's obviously not Jesus. Right. It's obviously his real name's not Jesus.
Rituals, you know. I mean, anything that's passed down through history is passed down to the victors. I mean, to be honest, although we know even the names, even the days of the week, Monday, Sunday, we go to church on Sunday, you know. Exactly,
it's so obvious. It's sun worship.
I mean, no, but like, I still don't like. I think the Bible's like, you know, it has some wisdom in it, but like, to be honest, people. Like anything good, they like science, you know. Science does good. Science is not that bad, but you know, look at all the transhumanism, all the.
I don't understand why everyone's hung up on this idea that you need a middleman between you and God, and people get mad. Jesus isn't a middleman. What is he then? He said, "No one comes to the Father but through me." That means he's the middleman. So why would God need a middleman?
The New Testament also tells you to bow down to the government too. So like, that's what I'm saying.
It does, and it condones slavery. It condones slavery. It tells you to bow down to government, and that you need a middleman to get to God. Isn't that just like exactly what the church wants you to think, that you need a middleman to get to God? So you're in there on Sunday putting money in the plate.
But I mean, like in the devil's advocate kind of way, like, you know, if like he was real, like the whole Bible was accurate, then the Jesuits or whoever, you know, started printing out Bibles in the beginning.
I got it. Yeah, you're not. I appreciate you, but I need somebody to represent Emmanuel's position. Appreciate you, man. You have a good day. All right, I'm going to try Philadelphia since it's biblical. Philadelphia, are you going to represent Emmanuel's position?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. There's a couple things because I'm at work right now, so I gotta be quick and concise with this. First of all, what came first, the Old Testament or Gematria?
What came first, the Old Testament or Gematria? Well, that's hard to answer because the Kabbalistic system, I would imagine that Gematria probably came first. I would imagine that Kabbalah came first because...
The Old Testament came way before Gematria, right?
No, I couldn't say definitively because no...
What do you mean the Old Testament?
Okay, can you shut the fuck up for a minute and stop talking because you don't know what you're talking about? Nobody knows what the true origins of Kabbalah is or how old it is. They say it goes back to at least Babylon. So that's a lot older than the Old Testament.
But the false Jews didn't come about till when?
What is your point?
So there are over 1,800 prophecies in the Bible. There are 300 confirmed prophecies that already came to pass.
Such as? What's a confirmed prophecy from the Bible? Give me an example. Give me one. Give me one confirmed prophecy from the Bible.
You still have not read the Bible.
Give me one confirmed prophecy from the Bible. One.
You still haven't read it from front.
Can you just give me one and shut the fuck up? God, I can't stand and listen to sorry-ass motherfuckers like you. No, you're a fucking idiot because you're just talking bullshit and then you can't back it up. Give me one confirmed prophecy or shut the fuck up.
You're talking over me because you know I'm right.
Adios. That's a fucking moron, you guys. He couldn't give me one confirmed prophecy. Okay, Toronto, you get a try.
All right, man. I'll vouch for both of you because I see where you're going with this, you know, because you can't wait for somebody to save you. That's slavery, right? A slave waits for somebody to save them. That's called a slave.
And that's what it is. That's what I've always told you the Bible is. The Bible is a book for slaves. You want to be a slave? Believe in that bullshit, slave.
No, it's truth. It's truth, but
it's truth.
You know?
There's elements of truth in it, but I mean it's full of fiction. Hold on. Are we saying the whole Bible is truth? Because there's all sorts of things that cannot be verified in there.
It's all truth, man. The whole book is written by the Holy Ghost, which is, man, it's like a higher dimensional spirit that's not from this world. It's a universal consciousness. It's like the magic mushroom, man. That represents the Holy Ghost, you know? When you're tripping on mushrooms, that's the bread of life. That's the bread of Jesus. When Jesus says body of Christ, he's talking about the magic mushroom.
So what verse is it in the New Testament? Because I haven't read this one. Where does Jesus instruct you to take magic mushrooms?
When the Israelites were running away from slavery, God came to Moses and said to eat manna from heaven. He said it would rain manna. When he said it would rain manna is the mushrooms. So, you know, if you search up the verse with, you know, when they're in the desert and they're you know, running away from their captivity, you'll see Moses state that there was going to be manna from heaven that was going to fall from heaven, which was pretty much magic mushrooms, and they were supposed to eat the magic mushrooms.
I just want to be clear that I'm not against. I advocate for magic mushrooms. I think magic mushrooms could actually, if everybody took the right dose of mushrooms, I think the world could change for the better. But I have never heard this interpretation that raining manna is raining mushrooms. And that's also in the Old Testament. I just asked what verse, where did Jesus instruct to take magic mushrooms?
Listen, I'm not too rehearsed on which verse it is. If you search up
You're not even in the right book.
Heaven, you'll see the verse. It literally it says that it rained and it was some sort of dew. What's dew? Dew is like a fungus, right?
Dew is like the moisture on the grass in the morning, on vegetation.
Correct. So that's exactly how mushrooms grow. It's through a dew. And you'll see it adds up to magic mushrooms. Anyway, my point is that if you're waiting for something to save you, Jesus ain't gonna save you, man. You need to put in the work, you know? You put in the work. These guys just talk. They just talk and say, oh, Jesus this, Jesus that. You actually put in the work, you know? And putting in the work is probably more important than just believing, you know? Because believing, I find that most Christians, they just believe and then they think they're going to be saved. They're lazy. Meanwhile, you're on the other side of the spectrum. You're saying, fuck believing. I want to be the Christ. You know, you're like the Christ. When I hear you speak, I feel like I'm hearing Jesus speak through you. Like you know? So people have this weird perception on what Jesus is, you know? I hear Jesus through you all the time. When you're speaking Gematria, when you're telling, you know, people to fast, don't eat this, don't eat that, that's Jesus. Jesus said to be like him, right? He said to be like him. You're trying to free the slaves. So you are, for me, you are Jesus. You are Jesus. So
I just want people to understand that again, that's my spiritual belief, is that we can all be like Jesus or we can all be like Satan. Again, I do think that the Christian teachings try to guide people in the right way. And I was raised Lutheran, so I mean, that is still my spiritual foundation as well. But I just grew up and I realized religion was really annoying and everyone uses it as a crutch and some kind of bullshit. And it ultimately like makes humanity worse. And it's just so manding. And for 10 years I've been here, and pretty much every critic I have talking shit about me all the time is some Jesus believer. And that's why I feel like this Jesus word is actually something evil, because almost all of his believers are shitty fucking people. And I know that, I say that based on my life experience and the Jesus people I've known. They've almost all been shitty people who are frauds, who hide behind their religion, and they just make me sick. And just hearing people be, I was just watching somebody stream the other day, and they're like, you know what? I used to be worried about like the evils going on in the world, and I was trying to get my people to see me. But you know what? I started believing in Jesus about 6 months ago, and I just feel so much better about life, and I just feel at peace. And I'm like, God. So, okay. So now you're not worried about the evils of the world anymore. You're not trying to change anything, but now you're just content because you believe in Jesus and feel like you're going to be saved. I mean, that to me, that just sounds like a terrible delusion. That's exactly what they want in people, to not stand up against. It's like before they were doing the right thing and it was too frustrating and overwhelming for them, is what I heard them with their words. They got too overwhelmed by trying to wake people up. And then they found it was just so much easier to just say, you know what? I believe in Jesus. And now because I believe in Jesus, like my grandmama told me, you know, someday I'm going to go to heaven when I leave this evil place. And I'm just telling you, I mean, that's exactly why we're fucked, because everyone's doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to find a balance, you know. You can't just use Jesus as a crutch, you know. It even says in the Bible, many will come to me and say, hey, Jesus, I believed in you. Hey, I did this.
All right, friend. Well, I appreciate the call, but I'm looking for somebody to represent the total. I want somebody to make a good argument about why Jesus is the only way. I'm going to try out another caller here, friend. I appreciate it. Thank you for phoning in. All right, what's up? Is this the same caller from Philadelphia?
Yeah, man. Maybe I should have prefaced by saying I'm an Israelite. I don't believe that, quote unquote, Jesus, you know, all God says is follow the law, statutes, and commandments. So we agree there. We agree. Religion is all made up. Religio means to bind. Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, European Christianity. You're absolutely right. But yet, the same people who you say contrive things, corrupt the world, they're the same folks who created all the inconsistencies and contradictions in the Bible and changed names. The Bible said whoever changes a word out of this Bible will receive the plagues of this book. Can you agree on that?
Right, and the words have been changed a whole bunch. Okay. So
they changed a whole bunch. So all the inconsistencies you talk about, they did it. Constantine, like the previous caller said, they changed the holy days. The Sabbath is really on Saturday. They gave us the Gregorian calendar.
Now, here's my next question then. So have you seen the original scriptures?
Original scriptures, Old Testament, Torah, what do you mean?
In any of the books. They're all written in different languages. I mean, can you read Hebrew, Aramaic, or Greek?
Not yet. Not yet.
So this is my point exactly, because you're making points like these are other points I'll go to. So why are we still even stuck up on it? We're talking about these re-edited books, completely retranslated, new meaning, new names, and it's just like, what is the point? What is the point of doing this? This is exactly why God would never put the truth in a book.
But you admit every day that the real Israelites are black, but you can't agree that we didn't corrupt the book that was given to us.
But I see the Hebrew Israelites, they're reading right from the book, and they're only quoting the parts that serve their interests. And they're not doing any good for the world. They're out there on the street talking about how they have all these delusional beliefs that God's going to come back any day and they're going to be saved and all the white people are going to burn in hell. It's just like, this isn't the message either.
No man knows the day or hour. That's what the Bible says. No man knows the day or hour when it's coming. The Bible says that. That's why I said you should read the Bible front to back. It says all the answers the questions you have, the criticisms you have of the Bible, it will give you the answers if you take the time to read it, just like you invested so much in Gematria. That's all I'm trying to say, boss. But if I have to go ahead and give you the scriptures out of the Bible and put it on your
all right, I got to move on because you're already making my head hurt, man. You just talked about how the whole book's re-edited, and then you're telling me to invest more time and I've already read enough of the book to realize it's not the answer.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, later. Again, I mean, was that a logical statement right there? He's talking about how the book has been mistranslated, so it's lost its meaning, and then he's saying I need to spend more time reading the book. No, I don't need to spend any more time reading the book. I spent a lot of my life in the church growing up, and I have read enough of the book to know it's not the answer. It's part of the problem. God would never put the truth in a book. God put the truth in us. That's why we have all the capabilities that we do. We know what's right and wrong. We can delude ourselves and lie to ourselves, but we know when we did wrong, you know? It's just so annoying, man. I mean, it's like, you know, people get mad, but I swear to God, I mean, from what I see in the world today and who's ruling over us and what's written in that Talmud, as fucked up as it is, I'm starting to think those might be some of the truest scriptures. Because, again, it's in the original Hebrew text. Again, it's like they knew that the other people were dumb and easily ruled over and meant to be enslaved. And you just take a look around and you're like, man, people are fucking dumb. They seem like they like to be slaves. And I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. They're even all cutting the skin off their dick like they're Jews. Like the article I read the other day. America's so Jewish, everybody's even self-mutilating. So. Yeah, it's just, you guys, I'm just so annoyed just watching this shit go on for all this time. And yeah, it's like almost any time a video is made about me or this work, it's somebody talking shit, and they're almost always Christian. So I just get more convinced with each day that religion is absolutely evil and turns people against everything that's right in the world. Yeah, exactly. Trey has the $1 million question. If it's supposed to save us all, why is it only fucked up the world more? What's up, 228?
Hey, Mr. Zach, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I'm doing all right. What's up?
Hey, I don't know if I'm going to make a case for Christianity, but I just want to point out something that a lot of us are looking for the, evidences for this and that, but you got to remember that Christianity is a religion of faith. Now, Christianity describes faith as the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So it's really not a book that's going to provide tangible evidence for you to say, aha, now we get it. It's not about that. It's a spiritual book. So when you start looking for substance, tangible things, then you're dealing with the carnal. So you're never going to make a case that wakes Christians up and make them, turn away from that, going at it from a carnal angle. You understand what I'm saying? Because the whole foundation is based on faith, which is evidence of things not seen. Does that make any sense?
I do get what you're saying. Yeah, that's why they say you can't convince a believer of anything. Their entire system of thinking is based on what they believe in, not evidence.
Exactly. Now, me personally, I no longer subscribe to Orthodox Christianity, but I still believe in a lot of the values of the book, because here's my thing. Nowhere in the New Testament does the Bible authorize men who have done evil things in the name of that book to do them. You can't show it to them. You can point out some men who done took that book and deceived simple-minded people. But you can't point out a scripture in that book that tells or authorizes symbolizes, that'd be like somebody taking Zachary Hubbard's name, stealing your identity, and going out there and doing a bunch of treacherous things in your name. And then people measure you by what you had not authorized other people to do in your name. So this whole argument is based upon what men have done who haven't been authorized to do them in the name of that book. And so it's just, like I said, I'm kind of neutral on it, but I understand where the frustration is coming from. A lot of Christians are asleep. They piling into that church, and their brains is turned off. But at the same time, I can understand some of the values in the book to be a better regimen for society, because you got to realize the nation that we live in, and I'm going to shut up, but the nation that we live in, and all the things that we do like about the nation that we live in, we're pretty much built by religious people. It's the generation that did the least amount of building that seems to be the most woke. And I have a problem with that. Because they're the ones that got so much time on their hands, they're sitting around saying, everybody knows so much about the Bible, but nobody can tell me what the scriptures mean. We're just having arguments about the Bible itself and how it messes. But what does it mean? And if I had the time, I would love to have one of those discussions one day. But that's all I had. I appreciate you for taking my call.
Sure, I appreciate you calling in, and I think you made a bunch of good points. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care. Okay, I'm going to remind you guys, shit is about to get real in this world, you guys, and it's going to be done in the name of Jesus. And again, here's the whole thing that brought me to this work, that I knew this stuff was no accident. Remember, Israel's 74 years old right now, and the superior general, the leader of the Jesuits, which is the Jewish Catholic Alliance, he just turned 74 November 12th. Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, Lucifer, occult, Masonic, Jewish, killing, holiday, which means holy day, like our nation's birthday, 7/4. They're all 74. Okay? I was just in Buffalo teaching about this, and the only people that I only had 2 negative interactions in Buffalo. Everybody else was grateful for the work when I was there. I got a lot of hugs. A lot of people appreciate it. A lot of people had questions and were just like, wow, I've been looking for something like this. The 2 people who were rude, one was somebody who's connected to the Charleston church shooting, which was another big 74 ritual. Let's not forget they arrested the supposed shooter, Dylan Stormroof, on I-74. And again, I did the live stream with that guy, Chris Singleton. And you guys don't know this, but he offered me thousands of dollars to take down the videos I did on him. I didn't take his money, and I did not take down the videos, but I said, you know what? I'll retitle the video since you really don't want your name in them. And I just did that out of respect in case his mom really was killed in Charleston. And I didn't ever argue with him that it was all a psyop and a hoax. But again, he's more into his money. He got paid $7 million from the state for the death of his mother. And now he lives in a big mini mansion, And that's why he has money to offer me just to take the name out of his video. But I didn't want his blood money. So again, I could have had thousands of dollars just to remove the video. I said no. But this is what I was talking to him about. And don't forget what they did in Buffalo. Buffalo, a white supremacist shooting. If you use numerology, white supremacist equals 74, like Jesus Christ, who they've turned Jesus into this white guy, even though the one physical description of him in the Bible is that of someone who's got a darker complexion. It's nothing like, from the one description. And again, how can this guy be real? That the one little vague physical description of him is from somebody's dream. No historical record, no description of what the guy looked like. He's totally real, you guys. He's totally real. And it's just a coincidence his name adds up to this number that there's so many ritual killings connected to. But again, Israel is 74 years old right now, which is a Jesuit creation. It was created on 14/5, the 14th day of the 5th month. Catholic equals 145. There's 145 more chapters in the Jewish Old Testament in the Catholic Bible than the Protestant Bible. See, that's why That should just blow everybody's mind right there. Not to mention, if you use numerology, Catholic equals 46, like there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. The only two presidents in this country that have been Catholic both had the 46 connection. Joe Biden, number 46, and JFK with his head blown off at age 46. But again, the reason those things don't connect and people, it doesn't blow people's mind is because their mind is retarded. Like literally, not to be insulting, but that's what it is. Their minds are stunted. They don't work. That they're ineffective. They can't add 2 + 2 = 4. They're brain dead. And that's why they believe in all the bullshit that they believe in, from the government to the sports teams to these religions. Everything being spoon-fed to us from a young age, which is the government, the state, your education, the sports culture, it's all obvious bullshit. It's so transparent. I had it figured out when I was 7 years old. That's not a lie. I had it figured out when I was 7. When I was 7, I could see how bullshit things were. I used to get in a lot of trouble in Sunday school and in school for asking questions because I was questioning things that didn't make any sense. Notice, everybody goes through life just going along with bullshit. They don't question anything. And then they think if you question something, you're a bad person. Oh my God, Zach, how can you question Jesus? You're going to go to hell. And then you realize that's their whole foundation of their existence. It's based in fear. But understand, you guys, we are at a precarious time in history while Israel is 74 years old and the superior general of the Jesuits, who coincidentally enough is born on the 316th day of the year. Get it? Like John 3:16. You know, the verse about the middleman. I hate when people say, Jesus isn't a middleman. What is he then? He's the definition of a middleman. No one gets to God but through me. Okay, middleman. It's pathetic that you have to believe in that shit. And the only reason you do is because you're a little child still inside and you're afraid of bullshit. You're afraid of the consequences of not believing in the bullshit. And ultimately, I think if Creator is really watching over us, and I think Creator is. I think Creator sends signs to our life all the time. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what Creator sent to me by having me meet Jesus, Luciano, and Helda all in the same week and having interesting conversations with all of them. Maybe he was trying to reveal that I am right. You know, that this Jesus character is a trick and more connected to, you know, spiritual wickedness, deception, like Lucifer. Anyway. Notice, right after the superior general turns 74, here's the thing they've been talking about all year. If Russia attacks Poland, how it could set off World War III. Boom. It's fucking 3 days later, you guys. 3 days later. And all this manufactured bullshit in the name of Jesus synced up with the Society of Jesus. I'm showing you guys how Kanye West, how his mom was sacrificed in a Jesus ritual, just like they've done to so many other people, Tupac and beyond. And I got people leaving comments to the video. Jesus is the truth. It's like, man, these people their brain must be a fucking rock. So you mean that after I just showed you this, you're still thinking that's all you can respond? Jesus is the truth. Jesus is the truth, as every evil fucker in this world uses that name, like it's some kind of credibility that they believe in Jesus and they're going to put this hand on this book. I mean, you talk about a stupid fucking population, man. Here, I'm going to take one more call. Arizona, where I used to be back in my college days. Arizona.
Zach, how you doing, brother?
I've been doing better. What's up?
Nothing, man. Look, dude, I love you, man. I'm a Patreon guy with you. What's your book? Yada, yada. I'm just sitting there, and I'm working right down the street from Arizona State. So, basically, this is my view on this, dude. I was a drug addict, this is years ago, but I'm saying because of my abuses I went through as a kid, being beaten and, molested and just all this shit that went into my life, dude. We're talking about God, but like I'm saying, Satanism and stuff like that, from people and shit like that into my life. And I just couldn't take it, right? So I was older, I had a wife and kids and all. I was just going to kill myself. So I just couldn't take it. And I was raised in the church, but I didn't have no real connection. I always prayed to the Lord, but I just didn't know nothing about it. And anyway, man, I said, when you said you wouldn't give me anything I can't handle, I can't handle this. So I got a gun, and I was just going to shoot myself the next day. I had the place where I was going to go. I wasn't going to do it at home.
Just going to go down by the water. Fishing boats will see me. Yada, yada. And there was no cry for help. Nobody knew nothing. I wasn't asking for nothing. I'm done. And I went to bed that night. Say good night to the kids, everybody go to bed. And that night, you call it a dream, whatever you want to call it, but to me, I'm in this suffering place where I feel like, oh shit, I already killed myself and I can't get out of here. So I was being tortured. I was being ripped apart by, well, as you would call it, demons or whatever you want to call it. But the pain, that wasn't the pain. The pain was a separation from God. And in that moment, I knew, as long as we're here walking around, whatever, we're separate, we're connected to God. I don't care what their beliefs are, that they still have a spark of life in them. And I just cried out to the Lord because I had nothing else. I'm saying, Lord, please help me. And boom, this light hit this cave that I was in. And I just went down on my knees immediately. I knew it was the Lord. And everything that was bothering me and harming me was in these tunnels that he couldn't be in the light. And when I felt to look up, man, it was Jesus floating right above me, and he reached down to grab my hand. I reached up and grabbed his hand, and we ascended out of that cave into like these beautiful, beautiful sky clouds, yada yada. And he told me, I'm going to take your addiction. You suffered long enough. And he said,
so he said, like, yo, I'm Jesus.
What's that, brother?
He said he was Jesus.
I believe this is my sense, Zach. I'm not a Bible guy, bro.
But you just said Jesus appeared and he grabbed your hand and pulled you out of the bad situation. But how did you know it was Jesus?
Well, it's the Jesus that I have grown up to know. You understand? Like they show you this Jesus, and I don't know what the pictures, blah blah blah. Okay. What I'm saying is all of this I believe is bullshit. Okay. I believe that. Even if, I don't think that man would ever allow any truth to get down here without them manipulating it in whatever fashion it's going to work with that. So all I can tell you, bro, is that he said, I'm going to take your addiction to suffer long enough. I couldn't put down nothing, dude. If I woke up in the middle of the night to take a leak, I would smoke with a bowl, drinking. I just couldn't do this shit. And when I woke up, it was done.
But hold on. You're calling in to say this is proof that there's Jesus, so we got to go back. So he didn't say it was Jesus, and how would you know it was Jesus? I mean, what did he look like?
Well, no, it was Jesus. It's Jesus.
It was. Did he have a T-shirt on that said Jesus? Did his T-shirt say Jesus?
I'm sorry?
What was he wearing? Did he have a name badge on that said Jesus?
No. Of course, yeah. What do you think?
So what did he look like, and how do we know it was Jesus? We have to establish these points if this is the proof that there's Jesus. Because I'm wondering why Jesus doesn't show up for a lot of other people who are about to commit suicide or getting raped. Jesus should be intervening in all sorts of situations in this world. So I'm wondering why Jesus came to help you out.
And I don't do the same thing, but I can't answer the other questions about anyone else's thing. But I have heard stories or testimonies of people.
Just go back and answer the question. What did he look like, and how do you know it was Jesus?
He looked like the Jesus that they project.
So he looked white with long hair and a beard?
Not white Jesus. No.
So he looked like what Jesus? Who projected him this way? What do he look like?
Darker Jesus. He's like, black Jesus.
Oh, he looked like black Jesus.
Look, listen, let me tell you something. He doesn't have to tell you who the hell he is. When you're in his presence, you already know who he is. And you, brother, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you, you're already doing a great thing with what you're doing, dude. What you're doing is spreading truth. So however you're doing is great. And you're right to question on bullshit.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm glad that God intervened and kept you from killing yourself. I'm glad you're still here. But again, I've heard a lot of people giving me a lot of calls like this, and it's just always so vague. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. How do you know that's Jesus?
Because if you can imagine the air around you is electrified. You ever have a knowing of something? You know what I'm saying?
Imagine you were raised Islamic. I mean, you would have thought it was a different presence other than Jesus, right? If you were raised in some other spirituality, you would have thought it was something else.
But I'm not, brother, listen to me. You're not understanding. I'm not saying that a Muslim who has a vision or whatever, I don't believe in that bullshit, okay? I think he loves everybody. I think he loves them where they're at. He comes to them as they recognize him or would recognize him, and God. And I don't think he feels biased. I think this bullshit religion is just for everybody to argue. I'm going to argue with a Muslim or any of this shit. I don't believe it. There's an all-knowing creator somehow
he sends down and helps out whoever he can, and if he doesn't, then maybe that's where they were for that point. I can't answer that, but I don't believe that, oh, I'm right, and that the Muslim guy, he's Allah, that's wrong. I don't believe that shit. I believe he shows up to whoever, because he knows how he has to show up to them in order to get the hold of them and change their life. And that's what I'm saying. I think all these people arguing is bullshit. I think it's the Bible has so much truth, but it's the biggest riddle in the fucking world, dude. And you know, I'm talking this way because I'm passionate about it. I see everybody arguing and it's bullshit.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in and giving your testimony. Thank you so much. You have a great day, friend. Appreciate it. Okay. And by the way, with another 74 killing ritual, yesterday was King Charles' 74th birthday. And what was the big headline we all woke up to in the morning? The 3 dead Cavaliers. Remind me what Cavaliers are. Oh, that's right. They're people that fought for King Charles in the Civil War, the English Civil War. On King Charles' 74th birthday, 3 University of Virginia Cavaliers are murdered. Come on, man. 816, I think this is going to be the last call. 816. 816, what's up?
Okay, so I was hearing people talk about the religions and whatnot. All the books, all the Hebrew books were basically philosophical stuff from them. Like, you know, like none of it was proven. Well, some of it was proven to be true. Like some stuff that they found from the Bible. Like also in all the other scriptures, all holy scriptures, they say about Jesus or Joshua or Israel. But that's not saying that like they didn't falsify or maybe change what his position was. Maybe it was something else. Maybe he was, you know.
I don't keep telling me more. I'm trying to recall what you're talking about.
So they was saying like basically, like I guess the argument is about Jesus being real. He has to be some form of real. If it's basically in every monotheistic religion, like they say his name. Like that goes back from the farthest one to the most recent. For the most recent ones, like even Israel, not Israel, Hebrews, they talk about Joshua. Joshua is Israel, that's Jesus.
Right. Joshua is the English translation of Jesus. And for the record, Joshua also equals 74 in the same cipher. So
Joshua too, right?
Yeah, Joshua equals 74 in the same cipher.
So that's what I was arguing with my friend about that the other day. She was basically saying they always try to shit on Christianity. And I was like, no, that's what they're pushing. Like, you know, every time you watch a movie, it's not like they're like Islamic or anything. It's like Christian, you know? Like every time you watch a movie, it's about, they go to like big movies, like big time movies, not regular, not mom and pop movies, like blockbuster movies. It's always, they talk about God is always Jesus, like white Jesus, Jesus Christ, Christianity Christ, like and I think it's something like how you were saying, I think it's something evil with that. Like, why would they keep pushing this and it's all these other ones, you know?
Well, I mean, look at what goes on every day in this world, right? They push lies every day. Every day they're pushing the lie super hard. You got to believe in the lie. You got to be controlled by the lie. I mean, who's the one? I mean, you have to realize the Bible was the greatest technology of the time, right? It's the first printed book. It's the first mass-produced book. Who came up with that invention? And realize, look at who controls the technology today. Is it good people who control the technology? No, it's the most evil people in the world control the technology because they want to control humanity. They're heavily invested in controlling people's minds and the way their minds work and operate and think and believe. And again, you give them this story that essentially they have no power. The world's this place fallen to sin and evil. It's the devil's playground, and your only saving grace is to believe in this story of Jesus who died for your sins. And realize the story has to be a long time ago, right? This happened a long time ago in a place far away. It's almost like Star Wars, right? It's not going to happen now. You just got to believe in it. You got to believe because God would have only done this a long, long time ago. You got to believe.
Right. Like, why wouldn't he do it? It's funny because when I was starting to read about like all religions, like when Catholics first started worshiping Mary, they didn't worship Mary their whole time. Like all religions changed over time. Like when they started worshiping Mary, that's when the Hebrews started to feminize their God. Like, you know, like it has to be like some type. some fakeness with like all the religions. Like, you know, all of them started to do that. Like even Islam, they started putting like feminine teachers of God further on in their teachings. Like, you know, all the books were made by philosophers. They philosophize that, or, you know, like not a lot of their not a lot of their stuff came true, you know.
Sure.
They just say it and talk about it, but that
Sure.
didn't come true.
All right, friend. Well, I appreciate you calling in and giving us those thoughts. I appreciate it. Thank you. One more. Okay, one more.
If people don't speak Hebrew or Aramaic, don't bring up the Bible. You can't even read the real Bible. That's all I wanted to say.
Sure. And in the case of the New Testament, ancient Greek. So.
Right.
All right. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Yeah. Again, I never find any productivity in these religious conversations, but there's more people calling. I could be missing a good call, but it's just like, it's just you guys. From the time I've been 18, I've been trying to speak out and get people to see what's going on because it's so obvious. It's so obvious what's going on in this world. It's so obvious. And it's like nothing changes, man. I just look out at the chat and I just see like, Zach's an atheist. Zach doesn't believe in God. It's like, are you even listening to what I just said? I just said there is a creator. I see the signs from creator all the time. I don't think I need this middleman belief spoon-fed to me when I was a child to understand that there is, something more than just what we see in the physical world. Okay, this person's calling over and over, so their call better be good. All right, what's up, 984?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? I just wanted to ask someone a simple question for those who believe in Jesus. Explain the religions that predate Christianity but have the same exact attributes as Christianity.
Like Mithra?
How can that be?
Like Mithra, who has the same birthday, who's born of a virgin birth, who's the old Roman god before Jesus? I mean, it's just like, come on, man.
Exactly. And I'm talking about like the parallels between Christianity and all other religions that predated are staggering. Like it's crazy how similar they are. And I'm just like, well, if people really like believe in this stuff like they say, like, how come you don't know this simple thing? Like the Christianity religion is like very, very similar to other religions that predated, like way before it came out.
It's because they don't care about any of that information. It's just like what the other caller said a few calls ago, and it's that quote about you cannot convince a believer of anything. That's why they do what they do to us. That's what I just realized. That's why they get us when we're children to believe in shit, from religion to our government to that our country's the greatest, our country is the best, our country would never do any wrong to us. I mean, just look at people. They're so invested in all this shit that's based on their beliefs, and they're ignoring all the evidence that stacks up every day. And when you bring them the evidence, all they have for you are insults and derogatory names, because they don't like that you're essentially attacking their worldview and the way they've adopted their understanding of the world. They're totally closed-minded. And again, it's like evidence doesn't mean anything to them. I mean, look at them all. They're brain dead in the chat. Zach's an atheist. How the fuck can you think I'm an atheist? I always say that I think there is a creator. And then they'll be like, well, you don't believe in Jesus. It's like, listen how fucking dumb you are. So the only God is your religion. You don't see why you're the problem and plague of the world. And then they can't see it because they're too fucking dumb.
And if you are on the fence about God, it doesn't like automatically make you atheist. There's also a thing called agnosticism. You're just on the fences. You don't know. So you just like, you take no side. But for us, like, and I know what you just said, you say like clearly it's in God is in the details. Clearly something made this. Like what created this thing that works systemically? Like we get up every day, sun goes up, moon comes out, like all this stuff, like clearly something created all of this. We're past that point. Explain the middleman guy. Why do we have to like put validation into him? He makes no sense. Like, and you really can't prove that he ever existed. And it's a lot of evidence. Like once you weigh it, proves that this guy probably did not exist. Like, there's a lot of evidence that like favors that. So for me, like, unless you can come up with something that's concrete that proves something like that, I don't put weight into stuff like that. And another example of that is in this community or in the woke community, I think like over everything, when it comes to everything, is numerology, Gematria. It's evident, it proves itself. But when we start talking about clones and lizard people and all this crazy stuff, then that's when like you lose me because you can't prove it.
Exactly. Exactly. All of you guys diminish anything you're trying to do by start bringing up stuff that you're just speculating on. Why are you guys asking me what I think about clones? I don't know what to say about clones. I always make the same point. Dolly the sheep was cloned when I was in middle school. That's what they told us, and they announced it on the 53rd day of the year. And what's sheep equal? 53. That's as much as I can tell you about clones. But again, I mean, we don't need to speculate on all this bullshit. We know what they're doing. Somebody just left a comment. Zach, do you think porn stars are clones? I think porn stars are probably motivated by money to do what they do, just like how most people that are doing things that they probably shouldn't do are doing it because of money. I mean, yeah, it's just like, even when Dolly the sheep was cloned, it was still a little baby. It had to grow up. I mean, I don't see how I could go out and clone Dave Chappelle, and then he's going to come out almost the exact same with the same vocal cords and going to be able to go on a stage. And I mean, like, all that speculation senseless. The more explainable thing about Dave Chappelle is he did get something weird happened. We don't know. He gave up millions of dollars and he disappeared from the world stage for a long time. And then he came back and he clearly wasn't the same person anymore. He wasn't as funny. His whole energy was different. And I mean, there's a lot of things that could have gone on there besides him being cloned. Maybe someone was sacrificed in his life. Maybe he was told he had to sacrifice his mom and it just made him step away for a long time. Who knows? I mean, it's the automatic assumption shouldn't be like, he's a clone. It's just like, come on, man. We look dumb.
Exactly. It makes the movement look bad and it stunts the movement. And anybody who has like a astute mind, a really smart person comes into it to hear something like that sounds like foolish like that. You don't even give them a chance to, like, it hurts the movement.
Yeah. Watch people talk about why they don't even want to look into anything conspiratorial because they're like, you know what? I like these people, they'll be explaining things and it's like, it's kind of true. They're like, that community is like full of people that just believe in all kinds of bullshit. And then they'll treat you like you're crazy if you don't believe in their bullshit. Look at what's going on with me. Look at all the people that say I'm a shill Jewish agent because I'm a gatekeeper of the flat earth. And all I've been saying the whole time is, you guys, flat earth, there's a reason they're making this viral right now. In 2015, we have all these problems. It's all of a sudden now we're distracted from what's going on earth. And we're talking about the shape of the earth. And what's your argument that the earth is flat? I just went to my P.O. box and the only thing in it was somebody sent me Eric DeBay's book, 200 Proofs the Earth is Flat. And I mean, thank you to the person who sent it to me, but I mean, just like, come on. I mean, like, what should I derail what I'm doing here on this channel, which is backing itself up every day, and start talking about how the earth is flat because Eric DeBay has 200 false measurements in his book to force? I mean, we're talking about a guy who dresses up like a girl too in his videos. What's that about? God.
Oh, no, exactly. Yeah, man, like, once let's say we were to find out that it was flat or round. Okay, then what?
Look at here. I just got somebody just responded. Earth is flat, dumbass. They're hiding the free energy. Oh, so so you have to hide the shape of the earth to hide the free energy. I mean, that's exactly why people run away from this community. It's just like, I'm just so tired of just like dumb fucking people. God.
And again, like, that's the movement. So everybody that's listening, like, let's just stick to the numbers, man. Like, we are not here to be entertained. We are here to, like, make progress. Like, this is not for entertainment value. We're trying to figure out who's doing this, expose them, and that's what it's ultimately about. This is not for entertainment, bro. Like, for real, like, let's just stick to the numbers and stop hurting the movement. And I don't know, man, as far as, like, Jesus, I don't know, man. Like, to me, you can't prove this. It was such a long time ago. And I feel like books and stuff can guide you, but it's in your heart, man. Like, it's all in your heart. Like, you don't need no man or like no like mystic like figure to like, you know, like, forget all of that stuff. That's in the past. Just do more good than you do harm. Like, that's it. Like, I think that's like simple. I don't think you like need a book or a religion to live by to like, you know, make you a good person.
Exactly.
Innately in you. Exactly.
It is in us. I mean, you know when you do wrong. I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know if you kind of, I just want to speak that, man, because I'm just pulling my hair out over here too. That like people sound so nutty sometimes, and it's like, man, you're a part of the movement. Jesus Christ, y'all heard it, man.
Exactly. That's why some people are just better to cut ties with. It's like we do need more people, but at the same time, it's like some people are going to scare everyone else away.
Exactly. But yeah, I want to dispute that, man. Continue what you do, Zach, and don't let them make you crazy, man. This is comes with it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, you have a good one. So here's a good comment in the chat. Steve Smith, he says, Zach, have you researched the controlling bloodlines? It seems the Orsini family is spreading itself into the truth community. You guys look, if you don't know who the Orsini family is, they've put a lot of people in the papacy. That's the Pope. And, you know, this like, I'm just picking up my phone. I got all kinds of messages from trolls. How many times do I have to tell you that Yeshua is Messiah? It's like, how do you even have my phone number? I didn't give it to you. What kind of weirdo is going out and finding people's phone numbers that they shouldn't have? God. Oh, sorry, GG Star. Oh, because you keep telling me over and over, then that must mean it's obviously true. God. Realize, I'm not looking for your phone number, and I'm not watching your YouTube channel. So again, if you're just so butthurt that I don't believe in the same, you know, false Messiah that you do, move on. God. Yeah, you guys, you know why I'm turned up today? Because I can smell the war coming. And again, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad, you know? Gonna be, you know, people like my nephew that end up getting sent off. Whole bunch of other youngsters that don't need to go. And just all of it, it's just such a mockery. It's such a mockery. McCarthy, the Red Scare, nonstop headlines about world war potential with Russia and China, the communist nations. You know? Hey, you guys, Jeff Bezos is going to donate $124 billion. Want to guess what donation equals in Gematria? Jeff Bezos. What a world-class fucking hero. I mean, flat earthers are saying there's no proof that aliens exist. And it's like, well, have you seen Jeff Bezos? Because that guy doesn't look like he's from here. Hold on. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates start their company in New Mexico and move up to the Space Needle. Look, I mean, you guys, every day this work just proves itself. Jeff Bezos is going to donate $124 billion. Really? These guys are puppets on strings. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. They're hollering in Spanish. They're building a home close to me, and something just went wrong with the truck that's loaded with the lumber. Anyway. Jill Warsaw wants to call in. Jill Warsaw, you got to dial the number. It's 509-560-4982. Well, we'll let one lady get in here, and then we'll call it a day. We haven't heard a woman's voice yet. We're waiting for Jill. Jill Warsaw's calling in about Poland. I love it. How perfect. Yeah, we got to close out the Poland stream by hearing from Jill Warsaw. That just makes too much sense. Did I close it? I just closed the, whoops. I don't know why I closed the screen with all the Gematria decodes on it. Oh, well, it's not a big deal. But yeah, you guys, I mean, yeah, it's just annoying, you know. For a decade, proving my point every single day in spades, helping a lot of people along the way, and then people just want to keep coming here and just bringing up the most bullshit stuff there ever was. God. And by the way, look at the vote. Look at the vote for McCarthy, 188. 188. What do we know about that number? When you write out Bavarian Illuminati, it equals 188. What are the US dollar bill denominations add up to? The 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, 188. What controls politics? Money. All right, let's see. Do we have a call from Jill Warsaw? 917.
Hello.
That doesn't sound like Jill.
Joseph?
It doesn't sound like Jill. What's up? What?
Talk on the subject
Okay.
about Jesus, about the whole Christian, like if it's real or not.
Hey, I'm gonna move on to somebody else. You're hard to understand. 716. What's up, 716?
This is Jill Warsaw.
I was hoping so, because that last caller, their voice was hard to make out. Sounded like they were talking with their face in the pillow. What's going on, Jill?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're loud and clear.
Oh, awesome. I met you in Buffalo, and I've been following you quite a long time, and this consciousness discussion is fascinating. Because I feel that we more live on a realm, and that this is a battle of frequencies. Like I can talk to my husband all day about this Gematria. For 2 years I've been doing it, and he can't hear me. He can't hear me. He's not vibing the same. We're like on our own path. We're all watching different movies play out, because I watch the political thing, and he can't believe that people behave as poorly as I'm telling them that they do. They can't see that part of it, where I can see it, and I see it in the numbers, and they just in the rigged part. They're just the lower vibration, like root chakras. So it's not a Jesus Christ. It's the Christ consciousness. It's the do unto others to make good choices, not the literal, Jesus Christ, in a parable. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Some of us are definitely on a different frequency, and again, that's a spiritual teaching too. Coming back to the whole Kabbalah thing, it explains that there's different levels you get on, and you can only attain and understand certain information when you're on higher levels. And the root Kabbalistic teaching is that if you're too focused on sex, it'll keep you in a lower vibration, and you'll never be able to spiritually ascend. And I just think about how they overload us in our culture with sexuality. It seems like that's exactly why they do it.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And it was the serpent. When you talk about reptilians, I feel like that's a parable as well. It's like the serpent. Like every morning you slay that demon. I love that video you did on the ego. It was fantastic. I love that. I wish everyone would listen to it, because it's exactly it. Every day we make choices, and I don't want to just say strictly left brain, right brain, but that analytical side that you're using, the facts, figures, and logic, puts you in your right brain. We need our ego, but it freaking hates us. I tell my children every day, I have 4 boys, and that ego, that thing will chew you up and spit you out. You need it to survive, but it can't rule you. And that's, I think, the other vibration. That's the Christ consciousness.
Yeah, I think you're right on. So, Jill, were you aware of my work before you met me in Buffalo?
Yes, that's why I came there. Yes, absolutely. I've been doing Gematria for a couple of years now, but more so when our words, people just don't realize how powerful our words are, because they all have vibration to them. So you resonate, you can bring something up, like you said, 74 is, I think, I'm not sure if it's Gematria offhand, but I know when you look through the list of things, you whatever resonates with you, wherever you're vibrating is what you're going to see. Just like you see different movies playing out. Like, I feel like we're all like Truman. We're all like in our own movie.
Sure.
We're all our own universe. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like we're our own universe. So, and it was that man that called in that said that he tried to take his own life. We see, just like we know, because we're told what Santa Claus looks like. So that's what Santa Claus looks like to us. Whatever higher
his spirit guide or whoever came to him, that's what form he manifested. That's who he thought was saving him, or, you know, however, because it's his story. He's telling his story. We're on our own journey. So in saying that wasn't his time to go. He learned lessons from it, perhaps goes on to do better things for people somehow, or realize his worth, or I have more stuff to do here, or, you know, there's people who say you have a soul contract and the CashApp records, and we just don't remember why we came back here, but now we're remembering. And a big thing with this is that my youngest son is awake with me, or awakening, I should say. He's a big Bucs fan, as a matter of fact. He was before Brady went there. But in any case, so we just, like, literally, he was texting me yesterday watching the Buffalo Bills game. And he's like, Mom, how can people think that this shit's real? And I'm like, I'm sorry, kids, you just don't see it. But, you know, what's interesting about that, Zach, is that he didn't get any vaccinations from when he was little. The kid has never, it calcifies your pineal gland, and you just cannot, we're calcified. There's no other way to say it. You don't have the eyes to see. The third eye is not open between our temples. And, you know, in the Bible, yes, parables and the others, stuff missing, I'm sure. I don't know what happened. But it's always thy eye. It's a single eye, and it's the pineal gland between our temples. We are made in his image. We're all lower G's. We can heal each other. I do Reiki. We can heal each other. We can heal ourselves through our food. We don't need any of this. So this discussion is beautiful. So sorry I went on and on, but I was so excited when I heard it, because I love that ego talk you had. We have choices every day. Do unto others.
Indeed. Well, I really am glad you called in and expressed all that. I think you're right on, and it's always nice to hear a woman's voice, because we only get so many female callers. But thank you very much, and thank you for also coming out to Buffalo. So I appreciate that.
Oh, sure thing. I'll keep spreading the word. Be well. God bless.
All right, take care. You too. Thanks, Jill.
I know.
Bye. Okay. So I want to address one of the really brilliant comments made in the chat, and this is why I just get so, I mean, M. Stone, read your words. Zach still hasn't figured out that NASA means deceive. He's saying in Hebrew it means deceive, but he claims to be so smart. And again, I mean, this is just like the Dunning-Kruger effect, because, again, this is something that's promoted by flat earthers, that NASA means deceive in Hebrew. But if you actually look it up, no, NASA does not mean deceive in Hebrew. This is a false thing put out by the flat earth community that keeps getting repeated. And it kind of shows you what kind of community that is. None of them do their own research. They just regurgitate what they're heard. And that's why it gets so annoying. They're constantly coming and ridiculing you and putting you down and calling you names and leaving comments just like this. And it's like, man, I mean, this is the example of a fucking retard right here. So M. Stone, congratulations. You now get the award for leaving the dumbest fucking comment in the chat, something that's been debunked for over 5 years, and you still haven't figured out in 2022 because you're that fucking stupid. And anyway, thanks for playing. Work on your IQ, and, you know, you remind me why the Jews get away with writing what they do about other people's low IQs. Stop talking about things you don't know about. Fucking embarrassing. God. If there's anybody else that thought that was true, look it up and find out it's not true, because it's verifiably provable that that's a false statement. Zach thinks he's so smart. I guarantee you that's another Jesus believer too. And for the people who leave the comments like, oh, follow Joseph Aquaviva 222, he's the real truth. Oh yeah, he's the real truth. Let's see, he learned everything from me, and then he tries to use what he learned from me to do exactly what I told people not to do from the beginning. I said, this knowledge isn't best applied to your own life. It's best applied to how the media manipulates us every day, which is why I teach it. There is an organic side of the code. But again, he is a clown and a criminal and a dishonest person, because, again, he'll take a clip of me talking about the shape of a cube where I try to make a cube with my hands, and they'll say, see, Zach's in the Illuminati. He's doing the Illuminati hand symbol. It's like, okay, well, what don't we understand about context here? If I'm talking about a cube and I'm trying to make a shape that's like a cube with my hands, I mean, God. It's like the real thing to say about that video is, man, it's pretty cool that Zach, for his birthday, instead of going out and partying and doing something himself, he drove 3 hours each direction to try and engage with people in Seattle about what's going on in the pandemic. But no, nobody made a video to thank me for doing that. Instead, one video was made showing how in one part of the video, I tried to make a cube with my hands, and then I got accused of being a Freemason in the Illuminati. Yeah, follow the Jesus freak who's a fucking retard. What's up, 917?
Hey, the whole, like, about, like, what you're talking about, like, it's Jesus. You see, people that use it the wrong way, you know?
I'm listening. I'm listening to your point.
Right, the Old Testament. It didn't happen. It's all, you know, it never happened. Not like real, you know. But the Kabbalah is the key to decode it. Believe it or not. And like in the book of Ezekiel, elephants Levi by line by line, next line, he this deep decoded, and it's all science. It's all science, and you know Moses, his brother Aaron. People don't even know like how he split the sea. I mean, it's in the book of Joshua. You know, real or not, it's a great story about Jesus. You know, I mean, he's a great character. You know,
a great story indeed.
But yeah, right. You know, I think who cares? I think that's not really important about is he real or not. Well, just his teachings. You know, maybe that's what you want to get out of. You know. And the Kabbalah was given to Moses, so it's not older than the Old Testament.
What's not older than the Old Testament?
The Kabbalah.
Well, but you have to use the story to come up with that, right?
Yeah, it supposedly because that was the wisdom of the angel. And Moses, somehow like he got it, they gave it to him,
I would think just logically, if it's documented in the Bible that that's the order it happened in, then the Bible was written after that, so it must have come before.
Well, yeah, I guess, if you look.
See how easy it was to just reverse your whole opinion? That means so if you're calling in to make an argument and I can easily reverse it in one sentence, then you're not making a good argument, right?
I'm sorry?
All right. Appreciate the call, man. You have a great day. I'm sorry, but we're eating up too much airtime here. Yeah, you guys, I just, it's just frustrating, man. It's like this world is stuck. It really is stuck. We need we need a different type of great reset, man. It's just it's too bad that they ruined that's what they did to us, man. They ruined our minds as children. They ruined our minds. And some of us, we were immune to it. We could see through it. It didn't work on us. But we are the exception. So yeah, again, you can add a lot of things to the 74 list. Remember what they did on 9/11 on the 74th meridian? Nuclear and weapon both equal 74. They called it ground zero, terminology from the nuclear weapons program, the point above or below ground where a nuclear weapon explodes. And then they called it ground zero. Ground zero. All right, let's try from down under. Here's on the other side of the flat earth. What's up, Australia? Australia, you're on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, it's Leslie from Sydney, Australia.
Thank you for calling.
Am I on the live right now?
You sure are.
Oh, I just wanted to say you're amazing. I listened to you quite a few times over here. Now, I just wanted to also share some information with you with regards to, you're probably already aware of this, with the 5G towers over here in Oz. We're in a lot of trouble over here. We have had a lockup, I call it lockup, not lockdown, over, the past 2 years. However, what they did was they rolled out pretty much all the 5G towers, and I couldn't work out how they actually put in the infrastructure without any of the public noticing, all the cabling and all the systems and, the construction work behind it. And
well, it's an upgrade on the infrastructure that was already there, right? They upgraded the infrastructure that was already there.
That's right, because exactly, and I worked out when it was, which was NBN won the contract for the entire Australia to roll out the internet, the new cabling for the internet. That was about 5 or 6 years beforehand, because I had a lot of problems with when they rolled it out. The water got in it when it rained and wrecked all the internet for our houses in those streets. So I believe that's when they rolled out the infrastructure for all the 5G towers. Now, I've got a site, and I can't remember the name of it now. There's a site, when I looked last month, they had 104,000 5G towers around the world. And now I looked a month later, and sure as ever, there's 119,000. They're pretty much every 250 to 300 meters apart. And that's around the world. It's insane what they're doing to us.
Well, I would encourage everybody to come to Prosser, Washington, because we do not have 5G. I actually went to the store to ask when they plan to bring 5G to this town, and they said it's at least 2 years off. I live in a small town in Washington State.
Well, I believe that Australia is the guinea pig because they've taken away our guns.
You are the guinea pig. You guys have gotten the worst of it. I don't know if you read my book, but I sent almost more books to Australia than I did to the United States of America. It was super expensive for shipping, but people are waking up because of what they're doing in your country. But yeah, I feel bad for you guys. You guys are getting the worst of it.
Oh, 100%. Look, and they're doing all the now every single day they'll come across and they'll do the flooding of the properties and things like that. So what they do is they get the chemtrail planes and they spray the air when it's a beautiful sunny day, and then and then I did a video of it the other day on Saturday, and I said, look, guys, I bet you any money that it'll rain in 24 hours. And what happens? Sure as ever, it rains in 24 hours, and it's because they've been spraying the air and they're just flooding us. So they're flooding us. They've put up quarantine camps up in Queensland. There's one in Western Australia and probably Adelaide as well. And what they've done is they've put them camps up there. You can fit 1,500 people in there clearly, and they call them wellness centres. But when you see the footage of the actual camps, they've got gas in there, but there's no gas heaters because they've got aircon in there for heat and cool. So it's similar to the old Nazi days, when they did the concentration camps. It's absolutely bonkers. And people are still walking around here with masks on. I don't get it.
Isn't it sad? It's here too.
It's just so stupid. They sit in their cars. You drive past them and you can see the poker face on, and they just drive past with a mask on, windows up, and nobody in the car. I just look at them and just say, "Oh my God, are you nuts?" So, it's crazy over here. It's actually really scary because there's a lot of people that are not awake, and the people that are awake, what they're doing is they're flooding those areas and pushing them out of their homes and making out that, it's such a climate change thing, and they're actually fear-mongering people through the climate change and making out that, if we have all this bad weather, it can't be good for us. And so they say, and the insurance companies are not insuring people in those areas anymore because, and the people can't afford it, so they have to move. So the only place they've got to go is to a quarantine camp. And the most awoke people up in Queensland or down in Victoria, they'll flood to death because they want them out of there so that they can build their smart cities. And there's another site I found the other day, and it's all about the smart cities for 2030 in Adelaide, as well as, New South Wales. It's just everywhere. It's insane, and people are just so oblivious to it. And you can't blame them because we've been sort of groomed and cloned since we were kids, So I'm 53 and I didn't even realise what was going on until I accidentally came across a video and I thought, wow, there's something not right there. And then I did my own research and I searched for the patents for the COVID-19 vaccine because I lecture anatomy and physiology as well. And I thought, oh my God, this is insane. I found 93 patents for this bloody vaccine from 2015. I went, hang on a second, something's not right here. So, you know, it's crazy over here, and people are not aware, and it's a shame, because I feel like that people, you know, when they hurt enough, that's when they do something about it. But when it all goes back to a relaxed state, which is what it is now, except for the weather, then they're not, you know, picking up on what's going on. They're just thinking, oh, we're back to normal. She'll be right, mate, you know, so.
Yeah. You said it all. And again, my sympathies for you in Australia. You guys really have gotten the worst of what's going on in the world. So.
Yes. So the 5G, they're actually changing the lights as well. The councils are, you know, like up the road in my park, they're putting out like things. Oh, it's just disgusting. I'd have to send you a photo of what this statues look like, and they just look like, you know, the sexual statues for the kids and stuff like that. Even the radio stations are talking, nearly every single conversation on the radio station here is grooming the children, because they put it on in the morning for regarding all sexual activities and stuff like that in the morning when the kids are going to school, when the parents are listening to it. And there's also books coming out with, you know, that children should be watching their parents have sex and things like that. It's just insane what they're doing. And I swear to God, I'm so happy that my daughter is, you know, 24 years of age and doesn't have to go through that type of, you know, information when she, you know, they need to be kids, really. It's just really scary.
It is. It's. I knew things were bad 20 years ago, and it would get a lot worse. But just some of the stuff that's going on, I could have never imagined. Just the whole transgender push, and yeah, the super sexualization for children. It's just these things are just. It's just like it's even worse than I imagined it would be, and that's what's so frustrating. And still, humanity seems to be, for the most part, just not willing to stand up for anything and just kind of going along with it. And what's even amazing, you go into a city like Seattle and people will act like you're some evil person if you say, don't you see the agendas going on right now? Don't you think this is wrong? They're like, oh, you sound like you're so full of hate. It's like, I'm full of hate. I'm talking about how this is wrong.
No, people don't like the truth. You know, I'm an international medium, right? I get a lot of flack from a lot of people that are Christians. And then I just turn around my best defense for myself, and you know, I don't take any money for this. I do 8 hours a week free, so I can help people around the world. So I was given a gift when I had cancer, and I just say to them, okay, if you're such a good Christian and you're the one that you know, so into God and preach to God and whatever else, and mind you, I don't mind that. But I say to them, how come God gave me the gift and not you? How come I'm the one helping people around the world and not you? So how does that work? And they cannot answer that. So I go, okay, there's your answer, you know. So
Indeed,
yeah.
indeed.
I just believe that people need to wake up, and if people don't wake up, we're in a lot of trouble. But before they actually wake up, we're going to be hurting a lot more until they work it out, you know. So it's really sad.
You're 100% correct. That's what.
You see people walking down the street here with masks on. It's just crazy.
Well, what's amazing too is, yeah, there's still a lot of people out here wearing masks as well. I'm in one of the more liberal parts of the country out here. It's kind of a political thing. The liberals are more likely to have the masks on. But I just went to the dentist last week, and this dentist has 3 secretaries, and it's always been women. But for the first time, I saw a guy working as the secretary there, and the 2 women were not wearing their mask anymore. But the only of the secretaries that had a mask on was the guy. And I just thought, oh my God, man. And this is the gender reversal thing right here. So.
Just crazy. I'm just really concerned about us becoming, we're definitely going to a communist country, and it's 100% we're going to that, because the 5G, like I said, the 5G towers, people are looking down, people are doing all these, you know, people are doing all these, what do you call it, like freedom fighting groups, and there's a lot of fakes out here that are actually just ripping people off and telling them something that they can get out of this court case and do this and blah, blah, blah. There's so many fakes here, it's not funny. And, you know, they're just Freemasons. You can tell they're all Freemasons, and we've got evidence. And I actually do nothing but the truth little seminar, private seminars, because I don't want to get taken off my show so I can help people. But I do those kind of little seminars, private ones, so that I can help people that from my followers that want to come on board and just get the real information. So I do this with another lady down south. And she does like the symbolism. She's right up there. We've done 4 presentations so far, and people are just going, no way, I thought it was this. And I go, well, hello, open your eyes up, because we're in a world of pain. It's going to get worse until the people rise up properly. And I don't know how we're going to do that, Zach, because when somebody fights over here, or goes against the norm, or the government or the police, they actually isolate them, and then they've, nobody else, everyone else is too scared to help, so.
That's just it. They got everybody.
Over here.
That's what they achieved in us from children. They instilled fear in us, fear of going up against authority. And you just see society is just too scared to do what it needs to do. They don't, everyone's tucking their head like they're some kind of turtle. And that's why we are where we are. So.
Well, see, I don't know what to do anymore. I'd love to learn what the next rituals are for here in Oz. I don't even know where to start. I've always watched your thing every now and then, and I thought, I wonder if you could teach us how to do that. I don't know how to start with that. What would be the best way to start?
Well, like I've been telling people, I honestly think one of the only things we could do at this point, and it's not exactly a solution, but it would be buying yourself some time, is figure out a way to get outside of the cities and find some land and grow your own food, because that's another big agenda that's going to get worse and worse.
Growing your own food. I tell everybody to do that, grow their own food.
I think that's one of the, sadly, I think that's one of the only things we can do, because if humanity's not going to stand up, it's like you got to really look out for yourself and just try to keep yourself out of harm's way to the best of your ability. So.
Yeah. No, what I meant was, my question was, how do I start to understand the Gematria here? How do I start to work out the numbers with the government and what they're doing and all that stuff? How do you start? What's the best way?
Well, I could show you some things that they've done in Australia that I've documented.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Could you help us over here to work out what's going on? Because it's clearly we're in a lot of trouble, but nobody knows where to start, or no one knows which way to turn, to be honest.
The reason that your country got the worst, here, I'll explain to you why your country got the worst of it. It's because Australia's Gematria, it equals 102, which is a huge number with all of their rituals. The phrase art of war is 102. Again, they said that this pandemic was the worst pandemic since Spanish flu. Not only does art of war equal 102, so does World War. And they said this was the worst pandemic since Spanish flu, and it came 102 years after Spanish flu, and Spanish flu came out of World War I. And then when they wrapped up all the COVID-19 stuff for the most part across the world, or downsized what they were doing with their mandates, it was exactly 102 weeks later. And then that's when the Russia-Ukraine things began, 102 weeks after the Superior General's birthday. So it's the fact that Australia equals 102, which is why you guys are getting the worst of it. When Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline merged as companies, the 2 most sued companies in the history of the world for wrongful death, they merged exactly 102. I forget if it was 102 weeks or 102 months. I think it was 102 weeks. It was one of the two. But they merged exactly 102, whatever it was, before their vaccine was, the first place it was approved in the world was Europe. And again, that number, is so important to what they're doing. It's just like how they had the war game simulation for the pandemic, and they called it Event 201, the reflection of 102. Of course, in this video, I'm talking a lot about 74. But let's not forget that the Event 201 simulation was on the day leaving 74 days left in the air, and it was right after the death of Kerry Mullis, who was killed at age 74, who'd be the one qualified person, if he was still living, to speak out against the agenda, because he said in the 90s what kind of fraud Anthony Fauci was. So anyway, I mean, there's a lot of places you can start. For you, I'll make a post on my website, GematriaEffectNews, just about some of the things I've documented that they've done with Australia in the time of the pandemic. And you could share that information with your friends. And from those observations, you can just follow the same patterns. So.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't know, like, I've always loved your work, and I did not know where to start. And I thought, oh, wow, I'd love to talk to this bloke. I sent you Aussie dollars 100, which I think it was 146 US or something like that. So I hope that helped, and I'd love to.
It absolutely helped. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, not many people ever make a donation that big, so thank you.
Well, no, I wanted to give more, and I thought, oh, maybe I don't know if this is a fake thing, because, there's so many fakes out there, it's not funny. So, but yeah, I'd love to learn more about it with the Aussie numbers, with the way they're doing things, because we've got the election coming up next year as well, and They constantly, you know, bat off each other. And I even got called a Freemason the other day myself. I couldn't believe it. I laughed my head off, and I thought, no, I don't think so.
Sure. Just something unrelated to the pandemic that happened recently in Australia. Olivia Newton-John, who's from Australia, died at age 73. And the night before her death, the show The Masked Singer, the Australian version, did a tribute to her, coincidentally, the night before she dies, and Masked Singer equals 73. So, I mean, you learn this knowledge, you'll see they're doing the exact same thing in your country that they're doing over here.
100%. Look, they had this thing. Have you ever heard of what's it called? War Castles NWO on YouTube. Have you seen that?
What's it called again?
That's exactly what's going on in the world. It's called War Castles and Space NWO, New World Order. Look that up on YouTube, and that is tells you exactly what's going on. The documentary, and there's a military guy there, and he talks about all the postal. It's like a postal system, how they work and how they operate. And he said in that video, whatever you do not give up your guns. When you give up your guns, that's the worst thing you could do, because then they've got you. And sure as ever, a couple of days later, after I just happened to watch that documentary, they had on the news here, dobbing your neighbour if she's got a gun. We need to collect all the guns, blah, 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 whatever it was. And so I just thought to myself, oh, my God, we're in a lot of trouble now, because they're taking all the guns off everybody. And sure as ever, yep, that's when everything started to happen, you know. So it's just crazy how all this is panning out, how all this is working in their favour. But still, people can't see it. I just don't get it. Oblivious.
It is amazing.
They call us conspiracy theorists, you know.
It is amazing. So, yeah. Well, stay strong out there, friend, and hopefully somehow we rub off on enough people that we can change the tide on what's going on in the world. That's why I do what I do every day. But at the same time, being realistic, it doesn't look good. Yeah. So. I was just saying, if you can, though, if you can get out of the cities where they're building the 5G surveillance states, I mean, if you can get out of that and get more out into some land where you have a place to grow food, I mean, I'd encourage everybody who has that capability to do that.
Yeah. You know, for the poor Aboriginals up in Adelaide, there was a guy called, I think his name's David Cole. He actually had his family attacked because he was the one, you know, being the rebel against all the police and everything like that. His family was attacked by the police. The police are just brutal here. It's terrible. And the way the whole system is it's so corrupt, it's not funny. Sorry, I'm leaving for work. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. And so his whole family got attacked, and all the Aboriginals, all the elders up there are highly, you know, respected. They are the people of the you know, Australian history, and they're trying to, you know, kill them all. So they held them down and vaccinated them over in Adelaide against their will, and they also paid the younger kids. They paid them $500 to get vaccinated as well. It was terrible. You know, this is going back about 6 or 8 months ago. It was really bad. So I don't know what we're going to come to here, but I feel like that people are going to be held down by the military or something like that to get vaccinated. It's so bad.
It is bad. It is bad. Yeah. If you want to go to my website as well, GematriaEffect.news, and just use the search and type in Australia, it'll pull up posts on there that are about Australia. I'm just looking back at like recent ones. Rain bomb hits northern Australia, killing 9 on February 22nd. That was 102 days after the Superior General's birthday. So.
There you go. There you go. It's incredible, isn't it? Like when we came out of lockup, I call it lockup, not lockdown. When we came out of lockup, we had I had to go to work across the freeway, and sure as ever, literally every 200 meters up the freeway, there was the towers. I say to everyone, stop looking down, stop trying to fight the government and the council. You need to go and stop these people from chemtrails and stuff first, and stop them from bombing your houses with water. It's like Noah's Ark. And then also stop the people from, take the towers down or cut the cables or something, because we're in a lot of trouble over here, Zach.
Right. So, yeah. Well, again, friend, stay strong out there, and hopefully somehow, some way, our fellow people catch on to what we caught on to already. So.
Yeah, it's amazing what you do, Zach. I will be sending some more money, and I'll get that book as well. So.
Well, I just say you're welcome to do that, but if you've already sent me $100, you don't have to send me any more. I mean, to me, that's a lifetime donation. I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, you know, it's good what you do, and you put your neck on the line too. So, and there's a lot of people out there. I get it that people, you know, want to go against the norm and they're brainwashed and everything like that. But you go out there and you put your neck on the line for everybody, and you deserve to have the respect and the, you know, the reward for it. That's what I'm trying to say. So.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What you do.
Thank you.
So don't let the trolls get you down. Just think of them as, you know, a bunch of twisties.
Yeah, indeed. Appreciate that too. Thank you.
Right, I'll let you go and have a brilliant night. I think it's night over there. It's morning here. I'm just about to go to work. I'm in the car now. So have a brilliant night and good luck. And I'd love to hear more about the Aussie stuff if you can.
Okay, I will do that just for you. Thank you for calling in today. You have a great day.
Thanks. You're welcome.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. 443.
How you doing?
What's up?
I just wanted to say that COVID was just a test run for a financial disaster that's going to be coming up. And they're going to try to.
Well, I wouldn't just say it was a test run, right? I mean, it set up all these narratives for how there can be a greater disaster, right? It's all part of the ongoing agenda.
Right, and then Bill Gates also told us there's probably going to be another one coming.
Right,
And
2025. The same. For people don't know, they did the SPAR simulation that's supposed to happen in 2025. The same group that did Event 201 and CladeX. So, I mean, the next one's not that far off. They're at the World Health Organization right now designing what to do during the next pandemic.
Right. And there are people who are saying that they're trying to get people over onto carbon footprint. And that's how they're going to surveillance people is based upon your output of carbon. So if you're like, you know, you're a smoker or you drive a lot or
they're going to, the future, it's that too, but they're going to be keeping track of like every last piece of food that you buy. They're going to keep track of you guys, people who don't get it. Once they have the digital currency and see, like everyone was worried that when they set up 5G, it was going to radiate us all and kill us. But like I was telling you guys, I was like, I don't know about that, but this does give them greater capability to keep tabs on things. Remember when the 5G came up, they said, well, now we can keep track of spin breakers and see like how many people are in a room based on the cell phones in there. And are they social distancing? So this technology is allowing them to look peer and peer more into our life based on by us keeping the tracking device with us, which is the phone right now. Eventually it could be under our flesh. But the future is they're going to keep track of every last thing. So there's going to be a quota of like how many apples can you have per year? How many pounds of this meat? How much water? I mean, they're going to be keeping track of everything, you guys. And they're going to do it in the name of climate change because all food has a carbon, footprint attached to it. So your food quota, I mean, this is the world we're going to. And again, I mean, all things good and bad. I do think that we should take better care of the earth, but you want these psychopaths having surveillance and tracking data for every last thing we do when all they're about is manipulating us and controlling us and overtaxing us and making sure they get a penny on every last transaction we have? That's what it's really about for these psychopaths.
Right, you're dead on, and they're going to have like units of people to overlook other, thousands of people at a time just to make sure everyone's compliant. It's kind of like how Amazon does it. If you're not like, on the right path, then it's going to set off a detector to let them know that you're taking unnecessary turns.
Right.
Essentially, that's what it's going to be. And and just high surveillance, that's where the 5G comes in because they're going to have, a lot more data bouncing back and forth than the piece of shit that we have now, I guess.
Yeah. That's where we're going, man.
I wanted to say thank you for everything, though.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care, man. Have a good one.
All right, Dad. Yep, you too. Yep.
By the way, with regards to Australia, I remember last year I predicted why they would trade Ben Simmons, who's Australian, on February 10th, the day in history that they made Black History Month. And his dad, you know, he played pro ball in Australia. And sure enough, they traded him on 10/2. Look how his name, Simmons and Slavery, are the exact same. I mean, the stuff is sick, you guys. You know, one of a million dead on predictions. 646.
Yes. About the Jesuits. I don't know if you ever heard of Helen Blavatsky.
Yeah.
Yeah. A letter. There's a letter explaining about Jesuits, their ethics, and their will. You know?
Mm-hmm.
They are like, you're on your own point. They are very high on top. And yeah, they're not good. They're not good. I would like to read some. I don't know if you have any time, but Helen Blavatsky wrote something, and I'll just email it to you, okay?
Okay. Send me an email. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. I'm not going to take any more phone calls, you guys. I'm turning off the phone. But yeah, you know what? Just for the lady from Australia, I will revisit this post because, again, it's just a perfect example of how they sync up sports and history. And again, I predicted this before it even happened last year, you guys. I had it all labeled out and why they would do it on the day they did because they're always paying tribute to slavery. But again, Ben Simmons was on the 76ers, and it was the 76th pro basketball season, but the 75th NBA season. And again, this is why they trade him on 10/2. Look at Simmons and Slavery and the overlap with Australia. And he was an LSU Tiger. And you know the old nursery rhyme, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. There's a racist version of that where it's not catch a tiger, it's catch a N-word, which also equals 42, like Melbourne in February, which is Black History Month. Of course, Ben Simmons is born on the 201st day of the year. But again, notice how Tiger, Slave, Negro, Rasta, Blues, they're all 59 forward, 76 in reverse. And again, he's on the 76ers in the 76th pro basketball season. And when they traded him, he was on 275 games with the 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers, 275, like Gerald Rudolph Ford, like federal government. And the reason that that's up there, Gerald Rudolph Ford, is because he's the president that recognized Black History Month in the year 76 on the date February 10th. You know, the federal government recognizes Black History Month on the perfect day. And then all these years later on the same day, they're doing this. I'm sure they've done rituals like this a million times in between. But as time goes on, we figure it out more and more. And again, I mean, it's just sad that, oh, by the way, his dad's name, Benjamin David Simmons, 210. We write February 10th, 2/10. So his dad played pro ball in Australia. But yeah, it's just, you know, a gazillion examples of the relevance of Gematria. I'm trying to scroll back to an older post. It was years ago, though. There were these 2 terrorism rituals in Australia, and I can't remember if they were 90, I think they were 94 weeks apart. They might have been 94 months apart. I think it was weeks. But the word terror is 94. Just like how the World Trade Center's opened on the 94th day of the year. It's in here somewhere. I got to go through all these other posts. Could also potentially be on my other website where information's archived is freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. Let me see. Was it on this? Was it before? Okay, here it is. Melbourne terrorist attack on November 9th, 2018. 119, right? They just can't get away from the certain number patterns. 9/11, 119. And then the other one was on January 20th, 20/1 or 201, like how there were 2 towers that became 0, that became 1. But anyway, these attacks were 94 weeks apart. And they referred to it as a terrorist incident, which equals, you see how they emphasize terrorist incident in The Guardian? Here, base ciphers. Terrorist incidents, 94 in the most pure, right? Terror, 94. Same stuff all over the world, you guys. English is the language of the world. And in Australia, they speak English. Again, another British nation. But yeah, I mean, if you're still out there, I would just go through my websites and just search Australia and just go back through all the documentations. So, you know. The attack was in Victoria on November 9th. Both attacks were on dates with 58 numerology, Freemasonry, Rosicrucian Secret Society. Date with 38 numerology going with death. Yeah, even though Google has been chipping away and taking away posts from this site, I mean, most of it's still here. So, and you know, someday you'll come here and the whole website will be gone. It'll be taken down under the new federal Anti-Hate Speech Act. And then if you read the fine print, it got rid of anybody who questioned the activities of Western world governments. That was part of the new definition of hate speech, questioning the government. And then the brain dead masses will be like, well, they took it down because you are one of the hate speakers. Yeah, that's hate speech when you question the government. I mean, didn't you go to school? I mean, in school they taught us that, you know, the government's good. So if you don't know it's good, then you're full of hate. Oh my God, you're not vaccinated? Oh my God, you are like a terrorist. Yeah. Anyway. Sadly, that's the world we live in, you guys. So, and I still remember it was 2013 when I found this knowledge, and I just saw everything that was 74, and I said, man, who would encode 74 into Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables? Let's think about it. You do a little reading, you're like, oh, wow, the oldest English language script is credited to a Catholic monk, Burforth. Okay, it's starting to make some sense. I could see why they would encode it. All right, you guys, I do got to do other things. This stream went on a lot longer than I intended it to, but yeah. For the guy out there whose song I played, his little song he made making fun of me, you know, that same guy also did a video saying that I'm not a real man because I don't have children. And, you know, that kind of burns a little bit because if I have one regret about my life, it's that I don't have children. I like children a lot and I would be a good dad, but, you know, the women I was with in the past, I wasn't ready to have children. And then Sweet Lady wants to have children someday. It's just she's been in school and she finally just started working. She says she wants to start having children in about a year or two. So, I mean, I'll probably eventually have children, even though at this moment I hate to bring them into the world. But for the guy who said that, he says he has a few little ones. And it's like, dude, someday you're going to find out. I think what that guy's going to find out is that, you know, I mean, karma's real. I wouldn't be surprised that in a not so distant future, his children have become little toy soldiers for the banker tyrants. And he might be thinking back about me as he's getting a letter in the mail about his dead child that died in the latest needless war. And he might remember that there were people that were trying to stop these kind of things from coming. But yeah, you guys, I mean, I don't want to give you false hope, but there's no positive signs that anything's going to change in humanity. There's all kinds of signs that really bad shit's coming, a lot worse than what's already come. Not to mention we were dead on about the prediction for 2020, how it'd be a really bad year for humanity, which we saw, you know, coming many years in advance. But yeah, you know, I think that's when people wake up a lot of times, when a trauma happens to them and it's too late. Like maybe when your kid's killed in the war. So my sister might finally wake up too if that's what ends up happening to my nephews. They get sent off to the next needless war. My sister's so dense though. Like I told you, my sister thinks Freemasonry is a conspiracy theory. She doesn't even think it's a real thing. She thinks it's just a conspiracy theory. It's like, my God, Jen. Here's the quote to sum it up. People are going, hey, yeah, right, the Matrix, call me. I want to close out this stream with the words of yeah, right, the Matrix. Let me see how he feels. Let's hear from Yeah Right the Matrix before I sign it off. Just hearing the voice of Yeah Right the Matrix might make me feel a little bit better about what's going on right now. He has my real number, so he can get through past the block line. Don't call the 509 number. That's blocked. He's calling. I must have wished it 11:11. What's up?
What's up, Zach?
What do you think, man? What do you think about the latest news? You think it's a coincidence that he's bombing Poland 39 days after his birthday?
I mean, no, it's not. Nothing's a coincidence. But I feel you. I don't know. Something must be in the air today, but I feel the same way. You have hope, but days like today, it's kind of all out the window, and it's like no one is doing fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Just waiting for the savior, man. Trump's about to, didn't you hear Trump's going to announce, man? We're about to be saved.
Right. You got the Trump. You got, it's just I've been doing a lot of reflecting and say, you know what? It's getting close to go time, because, there's a video. I was actually going to go live soon. There's a video that Bryant put out about Gavin Stein. Well, not about Gavin Stein, but a situation he was in. And Gavin Stein was, he wasn't really an auditor, but he was like one of the most hardcore freedom fighters that you would see these days. And, if you get a chance, check out his channel. I think I told you about him before, but he got this notion a long time ago. He was ahead of his time. And he said, you know what? Ain't nobody doing shit. Ain't nobody doing nothing. No matter what, I'm out here risking my life. My family's in danger. And he fled the country in one night and went to Mexico. And that's where he's been for the past, I think it's about 6 years now, 5-6 years.
How you spell his name? Gavin, and how you spell his last name?
S-I-E-M or S-E-I-M. But Brian did a video about him, and Brian is that, you watch the video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Brian's actually got the nerve to put this guy's video on his channel for views, and Brian doesn't have a ball hair that this guy has. It's like a real slap in the face, because I've talked to Gavin a lot about Mexico and stuff, and to see Brian post that video and talk like we need to do this, and there needs to be more of this, and this, that, it's a complete fucking joke, and it's people like Brian and that mentality, the way he's portraying and narrating the actual video is the problem. And there was these two guys that came up and confronted Gavin, the bootlickers. And it's like, you got Brian sitting there narrating. I forgot exactly what he said, but it's like, these are the people, the bootlickers that are the problem with this country and why not. No, the problem is guys like you who don't have no clue what this guy Gavin has been through to sit here and try to narrate a video and talk about it. And it's like, you got all these followers and you're in the house making a video about a guy who had to leave the fucking country because the police were going to try to set him. He was either going to end up in jail or dead. And he escaped, and, he sought asylum in Mexico, and he's a citizen of Mexico now. Him and a lot of other people. And, it's pretty sad, man. And watching that video is like, you look around, you see all the shit going on now. It's like no hope, man. There's no hope.
I don't know how that guy sleeps at night, man. Like, I don't know how he still has a following. I can only imagine if I said my niece was dying and I raised $40,000, and then after I said that we raised enough money, the next video I uploaded was the remodel of my house. I can only imagine how many videos would be made about me, about how I ripped off the community. Not a single video was made about Brian after he pulled that stunt.
Right. I know. And it's just, that video today just ticked me off because, he's out there. He's not even a fucking auditor. He doesn't stand up for anything, but he has a channel where he shows people who do, auditing and stands up to, tyranny and shit like that. It's just, it's like, we're done, man. You know, we're done. We're dancing. These people are out there at all these, you know, COP27 and these, you know, these World Health Organizations. Literally, they're just so bold and brave. They're telling the world and putting it out there what they're gonna do to us, and we're just, you know.
I mean, all of this stuff is fuck you every day. I mean, seriously, they're scaring us about communism in Russia and China, and then the Red Party, the Republican, now has McCarthy as the GOP leader. It's just like, man.
You're right. And then what else is today? You got the Artemis rocket launched today. You know, with Trump supposed to announce his shit, and you know, what Trump is Space Force. You know, I mean, it's just a joke, man. You know, it really is a joke. It's sad, man. It really is.
The good news is I did find my passport when I was moving, so I got my passport. I saw somebody was talking for me in the chat. Somebody's like, Zach's never even left the United States. Where do people come up with this shit? I haven't left the continent. I've been to Canada and Mexico plenty of times. Stop speaking for me, trolls in the chat.
And for thought, you don't need any fucking identification or anything to go to Mexico. You need absolutely nothing. They do not hinder your travels through Mexico.
Well, they probably fuck with you, though, coming back into America.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's not Mexico. That's the United States.
Yeah, you can go to Mexico without the passport, but coming back if you're going to come back to the States, they're probably going to fuck with you if you don't have your passport.
Well, they do, but you got to remember, they're just security. They're just a private company that's security for a border. They have no power or authority. You just tell them, you know, when I did it, I said, all I got is my driver. Not my driver, but my ID. That's it. That's all I got. And, you know, they put up there, what are you going to do? What the fuck? I'm all right. What am I going to do? Stay here or I go there? Well, next time, police bring your birth certificate. So in reality, it's all you actually need by land. I mean, by air, it's a different ball game, but by land is your birth certificate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It's just, man, this country is fucked, and there's just so many, you know, I was up in Buffalo over the weekend and near Erie, and, the fucking Buffalo game, I didn't even realize it. And then it's like, I was in this, I was at Sunshine Beacon, Zach.
Okay, yeah. I remember that way. The rain held off all day, and right when we got in there, man, it was like, it was a flood.
Yeah. So I was at Sunshine Beacon, and a bunch of Bills fans were in there. And they were brothers from, like, the city. And they had on a shirt that says, bitch, I'm a Bill. And just sitting there, just watching them, getting all emotional and, like, you know, going from happy to mad to angry to mad. It's just unbelievable the amount of energy people put into this shit. And I'm like, man, this is disgusting, man.
Imagine Philadelphia. Imagine what they did last night in Philadelphia after the way they lost on that stupid ass penalty. I guarantee there was so much property damage. I mean, that's how bad it is in Philadelphia. They have a jail cell at the fucking stadium. And it's just, I mean, it's just amazing. People keep paying all this money, going to these bullshit ass games. They don't want to hear nothing. It's just, it is sad, man.
Today is a day that, you know, I don't know, maybe it's the weather up here, it's snowing, but I just lost fucking hope in humanity, man. It's just not enough. And it's like we got to just move out of the way of the tidal wave and just hunker down. The storm is coming, just batten the hatches and hunker down and just do what we got to do, you know?
Yeah.
It takes people to lose shit to change. You know, that's why I'm all for, myself, I'm all for fucking crash it. I mean, just I don't care. It doesn't bother me, you know? People need to lose shit to realize what's going on. Then they'll realize it. Then they'll come crawling around. You know, people got to go through hard times, you know, starvation, you know, high gas prices, no heat. I mean, we got to go through it. Fuck it. They're going to wonder why. They're going to start looking at this shit. They'll be like, damn, was it a conspiracy theory? You know? So,
yeah, I hear it, man. I've been knowing that too, that the only thing that's going to wake up America is some really bad shit they haven't seen in their lifetime. But the problem is it's going to be too late for them when they figure it out. So,
right. And then they know this. That's why they're slow. They got the slow vice. You know, we're sitting in the vice and they're just turning it real slow, you know? So, you know, I mean, I still do have hope, some glimmer of hope in me. You know, because some of these agendas, you know, they're not going to work. You know, whatever this Kyrie agenda is with Kanye West, Donald Trump, and fucking Elon Musk, is it going to work? I mean, who knows? I mean, for now, it's actually bringing a lot of new people waking up. I'm getting a lot of, like, people I've never even fucking seen in my feed and like talking about shit we were talking about, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, which I'm like, oh, and they're young. And I'm like, oh, this is great. But at the same time, it's like, what the fuck are these, what trick do these people got up their sleeve if they're going to come out and let Kanye West talk about some shit that, I mean, what are they up to? And one thing about these psychopaths is, hell, if it's out there, we'll just expose ourselves. We'll just expose ourselves and make it, like a mockery, and then turn, try to flip it to where, oh, Kanye was this and he was that. I don't know, but when they start coming out like that, they got big fucking plans coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I hear it all. So.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I don't know. I just, I like Gavin's idea a long time ago. I've been in touch with him for, since he's left, man. And that's, where I got a lot of my ideas of, what, something I need to be doing, So I'm just sitting back and just, waiting for the right time, man. Because, this country is 100% a target. And all the people that come on my channel and your channel and say you need to do this, you need to do that, man, fuck that. You don't understand what is in this nation that they want to do, It's this country's got to disappear, So, and then one of the things is the freedom, the guns, the mentality of, they come out and say it at Davos, your Americans' belief in freedom is one of our number one obstacles. Yuval Harari said, in the laws.
You just see it. People don't really care that much about freedom. They just want to be safe.
Right. And one thing about being safe is you got to fight for your shit, But
well, you just scare them all the time, and it's just so easy to see how it works. Just scare them and say, "Oh, see, that's scary. So here, just give this up, and you'll be so safe."
Yeah. And it's another thing that's crazy is, everyone's sick across the whole fucking United States. There's no precautions. I would say honestly now would be a good time to push a fucking pandemic because everything is, to the max. The hospitals are full, doctors' offices are full, fucking medicine counters are empty and shit. It's like it's insane all across the United States. I just traveled from Texas up here. It's all the same everywhere. And I'm like, isn't that strange? When there was a pandemic, there wasn't shit, but now, shit, you could get away with pushing a pandemic. It's like, it's like a big slap in the face to people.
Indeed. Indeed.
But that's about it, man. I feel your frustrations,
Yeah, it's just, the stuff they do to us is, again, I always go back to the analogy. It's just like when you're a little kid and you're in the room with like your uncles and aunts and they're telling adult jokes and they're laughing and you're like, I don't get it. What are they talking about? It's less like the people who rule over us. It's like they're the adults and everyone else in this country is a little kid with their, they can't see the obvious.
Right. That's how they speak to us through their fucking media devices, the TVs and the social media. They speak slow with their hands and they fucking use language like that you would use for fucking 6th and 7th graders. And I don't even want to insult 6th and 7th graders, but that's how dumb the fucking adult is. It's like when you view these people, the politicians and all that shit that come on TV, they speak as if they know they're talking to the dumbest fucking people on the goddamn planet. And everyone just gobbles it all up. It just simply blows my mind, man. It really does. I just lose hope, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
No stop. There's no putting a Band-Aid on this fucking hole. There's no way. It's going where it's going,
Here, before you go, I got to ask you something. Do you think I should go to LA on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death and try to see if we can create a spark in LA, or do you think it's not even worth it?
Anything that's active that people are going to see is always. There's nothing that could be possibly wrong with that. When is that?
January 26th.
It's worth a shot. Plus, if you get a bunch of people to go out there, yeah,
There's a lot of people in LA too. See if they can do better than New York.
Yeah, it's just you know, a lot of people don't like California, so but I mean, anything's worth a shot at this point. You're putting the energy out, and people come. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, my thing is like I did a lot of traveling this year, and everything's gone down. Financial support's gone down, views have gone down. So I'm just like, I did more than ever in the past year, and it could just be like the big tech censorship doesn't like it, so they're squeezing even harder and fucking things up. But it's just like, I don't know if that helps at this point, because I mean, the events are like for a few days, but then I'm not getting the result that I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to make the shit bigger, not smaller.
What I would do with that is not look at the numbers, look at the people that, I hear them all the time. Oh, I just found your channel. In the comments, I just found your channel. They've been calling in as of late. They just found, what happened big? You got a whole bunch of new people. So whatever just happened big, you got a whole bunch of new people calling in now. What was it?
The takeoff death?
Yeah, you got a lot of new people in. So don't look at the numbers. Look at the people that are coming over. I always say, hey, if it's one or two people, I'm doing my job, but yours might be a lot higher than mine. But a lot of new people have been calling into your, calling into all your channels. So, the reach is still there. It's just, you're not going to see it in the analytics and the numbers and shit like that. I got a lot of new people on my channel. My subscriber count hasn't even moved. So I don't even bother. A lot of times I'm doing live streams, it says 0 watching. So I know it's just to discourage me, but shit, I've been censored before it was even cool. So I don't really care. Just, I still get out and, speak my little message and do what I do, and that's it.
Sure.
But you definitely, a lot of new people have come over from takeoffs, death. So don't look at the numbers. Look at, I mean, that's what I've seen. There's a lot of new people, a lot of new faces, and, it's great.
I guess that's a good point. All right, I like that outlook. That's a good take on it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because it's definitely not going to show through the media, And we've been in this spiral of censorship for a long time, so people are still finding it. I mean, look, when you show up to Buffalo, New York, people are like, they surprise you. So just never forget, the stuff you hear from the actual people, instead of the numbers and the trolls and the analytics of the fucking channels and shit. Because you'll be like, wow, you'll be like, what happened? And so.
Yeah, that's a good thought. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in and speaking all that. So thank you, friend.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for, having me on, and, I'm always around, so.
Indeed. Yeah, call in more.
All right, I will. I'll talk to you later, and peace and love, everybody.
All right. Have a good one. Yeah, right. See. All right, you guys. That's Yeah, Right. The Matrix. He's got a bunch of channels like me because he gets suspended just as much. God, you know what else is wild, man? I think it's because like nobody's working. The car's all messed up, right? Because it got hit the other week, and I'm finding out that the soonest I can get into a body shop, and I've been calling everywhere, the soonest anyone can see me is the end of January. And I haven't had to deal with any car accident and stuff since I was 19 years old. But I remember when I was 19 and I got hit, it was the weirdest story of my life. You guys have heard my story from when I got hit when I was 19. It's still the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. But I remember, like, the insurance got the claim and the car was probably like fixed within a week. God. And I lived in a much more populated area back then. Not even that populated out here. There's like 10 body shops around. The soonest anyone can get me in, I'm just like, this because nobody's working, man. I can't figure out what's going on in this country. Shit's never been more expensive, and nobody's working. And every single workplace has signs: help wanted, help needed, now hiring. It's like, what in the world is going on? Nobody has enough. I can't even get mail at my new house. They refuse to deliver the mail here. They said they're drastically understaffed. They don't have the staff to deliver the mail here. I'm like, what? That's causing a problem. I can't get anything delivered to my house. Hold up. Yeah, right. The Matrix is calling back. He's probably going to say something about this because he has a business. What's up? What's up?
I was just listening to what you were saying. That's another thing I wanted to say. If anybody's looking to like relocate in this United States, that I found that a place that is actually heavily populated. And I've lived there and stuff like that. It's down in South Texas. Because all the stuff you're saying does not exist down there. The gas prices are low. It's lowest in the entire country. I've seen it down to $2.70 for a gallon. That's regular gas. And people smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes are cheap down there. Also, you can go to Mexico, right across the border and go shopping. Also, every single store I went in was fully 100% stocked. Like I couldn't believe it. I had to go in Walmart's, all the parts stores, everywhere I went, everything was fully stocked. The HEBs were fully stocked every day. I mean, it's simply amazing the economy down there along that border. Could be because it's close to Mexico. It's like there's McAllen, there's Brownsville, there's Mission, Texas, all these areas. Like millions of people live down in the area. It's about 90% Mexican. And it's a good place to go check out. You also have South Padre Island. It's like one of the most beautiful beaches around. Probably one of the largest beaches in the United States. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people. It's amazing on the energy of the people down there. It's like nothing I've ever seen, anywhere in the United States, and I do travel a lot. And then down there also is if you're a person who have an idea down there, you can make it happen because everyone's always looking for something. You barely see Amazon, FedEx truck because the people down there like to go out and get their stuff. So you're talking about the body shops and all that. There's a huge problem, here. I mean, people can't get in collision shops for months, and the same thing with repair shops. And traveling the country from north to south in the midsection, everywhere I went, there was help wanted signs, except down there. I talked to some of the guys at the auto parts store. I was like, "You guys have have any employment problems?" They're like, "No." Because they're Mexican, they're gonna work. They're gonna work. You get a lot of bang for your buck. If you're renting or buying, it's cheap down there. It's a full 365-day a year growing season, so that's a plus. So just something I wanted to shoot out there because I heard you talking about.
So South Texas, like way down at the tip.
Oh, it's at the tip. Yeah, it's literally right there. It's right there. It's beautiful too. I mean, it's really a beautiful place, and you don't see all the agendas. You don't see down there BLM. You don't see none of that shit. I mean, they're big into their local politics, but you don't see a lot of certain things down there. So
that's good to know. That's good to know.
Gas is really, really cheap. Plus the weather, the weather's better than Florida, and it's more tropical than Florida. They have dolphins dolphins down there and all kinds of crazy shit. So, but just throw that out there. And I was just shocked at the amount of things that were stocked in all these stores. Because I come back on my way up, I go to some of these places, they're damn near fucking empty.
They are. I needed a few things at Home Depot the other day, and they didn't have a single one of them. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. I went to Home Depot there, and I just could not believe how stocked wood. Everything's fully stocked. I'm like, what is going on down here? So.
All right. Sounds like I need to relocate.
But I just wanted to pass that information along. And then the good thing about it is, you're literally within 5 minutes. If you wanted to go to Mexico, you go right into Mexico.
Right.
Your dollar goes a long way over that border.
Indeed. All right, good advice. I appreciate that.
All right, I'll let you go. Thanks.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Have a good one, man. Well, just got done moving. Maybe we'll have to move again. Woo. Yeah, it is the strangest of times, though. It's like, you know, I can't figure out if this is worse than we thought. What is SADS? Because you haven't heard. Sudden arrhythmic death syndrome is when someone dies suddenly and unexpectedly from a cardiac arrest, but the cause of the cardiac arrest cannot be found. And that's because the cause has been censored from talking about in society because it's completely impossible that it could ever be that, even though there's no other explanation. And it fits in with exactly what these billionaire big tech types have been talking about. You know, it's funny how Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos up in Seattle where the first case of the 19 landed. You know, one said that we got to get rid of a lot of people and we can do it with the old pokey dokes. And then the other one remade a show about billionaires faking a pandemic to get rid of them with pokey dokes. But obviously it's not that. But yeah, if only a few more people would die from the SADS, I wouldn't have to worry about morons crashing into the car. Guess I should have learned how to... Yeah, for all you young people, man, skip college and just go into a trade. Be an electrician, be a mechanic, learn how to do body work on cars. Obviously, that's in demand right now. So... Shout out to John Mendoza. He says he's from Donna, Texas. Oh, my mom would fit right in there. My mom's name's Donna. The lady who crashed into Sweet Lady was Donna. I'm from Donna, Texas, where the guy is speaking about. I've been talking to my family about your work. Some asleep are interested. I appreciate that, John Mendoza. I guess you're in the right place, man. Feel blessed. I don't know what the Matrix is doing, though. He keeps talking about moving down there, but he keeps staying in his hometown, which he's not too happy about. I guess it's hard to leave home, huh? So, yeah, right, confirms. He said, Donna, yep, that's the spot. Maybe it was a sign all along, having the mom Donna. I'm just supposed to end up in Donna, Texas. Talk to Sweet Lady about it. I know we just moved, but are you ready to move again? Well, again, the whole thing about work is, if you do something you enjoy doing, it's not really like you're working, right? It's like you're making a living and you're doing something you enjoy. So, yeah, it's just like teaching. I like teaching. So even though I hated the school system, that's why I went into the school system, just because I like teaching and working with youth. And I did enjoy it, but when you have authority over you, that's the thing I would encourage everybody to get away from. Get a job where you're the boss and you don't have somebody over you telling you what to do. Because then you got to start putting up with all kinds of BS. I don't do well with BS. Oh, by the way, latest email from the person who spams me all the time. Hey, asshole, you're going to be held accountable for every word you speak against Jesus. Okay. All right. Well, again, all I'm saying is I don't see why there'd be a middleman to God, and all these Jesus people seem to be a huge part of the problem. They seem to be like an anchor dragging humanity to the bottom. So... Yeah, Michael Lane, I know that is part of it. I was just talking about that Sweet Lady, one of her coworkers, quit her job because by not working, it qualified her as a single mother for government services that paid more than her actual job. So, and again, I mean, a lot of women are incentivized to be single mothers and kick the man out of the house because then they got a nice, cozy check. And I mean, you start thinking about what the government's doing with its policies. It's like, so they're kind of incentivizing having a society of children raised without a father. I wonder if they want a society where children are a little bit more emasculated and, have less male qualities. And that same guy whose song I played earlier, the song he made making fun of me, he was making fun of my energy level. He says, like, look at Zach. Zach's just like so angry about everything. Compare that to me. Like, I'm content and happy because, I have Jesus. It's like, dude, we should be mad. We should be angry and outraged. I'm sorry. I can't delude myself and just go, well, the whole world is evil and all this bad stuff's happening to all these people. But you know what? Let me just shut all that off and let me just say that here I am, just safe with Jesus. You know what? Life is so much better now that I've just accepted Jesus. I don't even have to worry about anything anymore. It's just me and Jesus. I saw that homeless guy over there, and it's too bad, but you know what? I'm just going to worry about me and Jesus over here. I even made the point on the live stream, if you don't watch, I was like, so you don't want to stand up for all the children right now that are being scared and duped into pokey dokes and being made to wear muzzles over their face? You don't want to He's like, that's not my problem. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. You're right. All you got to do is just believe in Jesus and not worry about anything but besides you and your relationship with Jesus. Man, this relationship with me and Jesus is really one-sided, man. I keep talking about how much I love Jesus and how great Jesus is, but Jesus never says anything to me. You guys, if this bullshit wasn't put on us from children, we would look at this as a mental illness. We'd be like, have this many people lost their minds? They're talking about this fictional character from this book. Imagine like if you woke up and it's like 100 years later and somehow people don't talk about Jesus anymore, but it's Waldo. Everybody's found content with Waldo. I found Waldo. I'm not asking where's Waldo. I'm not asking that anymore. I found Waldo. You go to your building and everybody has a red and white striped shirt on. Everyone's just so content, eating the body and drinking the blood of Waldo. All these other people that don't believe in Waldo are gone. They're gone. Waldo is the truth. You just got to wear your red and white stripes and eat his body every weekend. And we are also selling Where's Waldo books. Well, I'm glad it's bringing you guys smiles. I got to be honest. I am just... Yeah, man. It's that quote. Let's put the quote on the screen. Let me get it right. Well, who said it and how is it actually? You can't convince a believer of anything. Who had this quote? Carl Sagan. You can't convince a believer of anything, for their belief is not based on evidence. It's based on a deep-seated need to believe. And again, I've just never been that type of person. I don't want to believe in stuff. I want evidence. And people say, like, there can't be evidence of creator. I disagree. You pay attention to the signs in your life, and you'll see that there is evidence, in my opinion, evidence of a creator. There's just some things that are just too big of coincidences. And those aren't coincidences. Those are signs. Those are answers. Those are clues. Here, hold on. I'm gonna close out with one more video from the Christian making fun of our community. And realize, like, he thinks this is us. And here, let me see. Where's his other video? Oh, he even did another video I wasn't aware of. All right, hold on. I haven't even seen this one. Here, we'll debut this one together. Hold on. Let's debut this one too. This guy's on a roll here, trying to make fun of Gematria. What's this one?
And the next number, folks, is 47. 47. 47. Wait, what? What? 47? What is this place? What I gotta get 47 is a Trump cipher, a Sumerian reverse ordinals. 47, the second Gematria, Kabbalist. I gotta get out. What is this place? I gotta get out of this place. What? Dude, dab it. Dab the number. And the next number is 63. 63. Like the year 1963. 63.
Okay. You know what? There is an element of truth to that, because there are some people who get too carried away in the numbers, but at the same time, it's like, you shouldn't be making fun of the 47 thing. It could pull everyone out of the political bullshit that they do day after day. I mean, look at Trump. They have to make a headline. His absence from, what's his social media website? Truth Social. He returns. And then you look, and of course, Truth Social equals 47. He returns after 47 days. He's going to make his announcement today. Today, if you count today through the end of the year, it's a total of 47 days. I mean, so again, he makes it seem like that's what I'm like. And it's like, no, I just look at how the knowledge actually applies to things that matter. I don't get caught up in if I was at bingo night and they called out the number 47. But there are people who leave comments like that sometimes. And so, I mean, there's an element of truth to his joke. But again, this is the guy who also, if you watched when I was on his stream, he said, and the only reason I ended up on his stream is because somebody let me know he had a video called Gematria, making fun of how stupid it was. And then I went on there and explained to him why it wasn't stupid. And if you guys watch that stream, he said back to me, he's like, well, I already know the media is bullshit and politics is bankrupt. And so I don't need Gematria to tell me more about that. And I was like, yeah, but other people who don't know these things, this can be evidence for them to help them break out of the spell. And he's like, well, I mean, like, I'm not trying to do that because I've already found peace with Jesus. Start making some videos making fun of this fucking retard. But here, let's watch this one that he makes fun of.
Can you, Jim Bob, or anyone else tell me how?
And by the way, he blocked the top number out of the corner because he got called out. His number up there is the number he blocked out of the top left corner is 2. He has 201 in his corner. But here we go.
Can you, Jim Bob, or anyone else tell me how or why this isn't important information? On that memorable day of 9/11, G.W. Bush was in the second grade classroom reading along with the students The Pet Goat from the book Reading Mastery number 2. The words Reading Mastery 2 have a numerical value of 177 in the English ordinal cipher, and 255 in the reverse ordinal cipher. The words George Walker Bush have the same exact numerical values as 177 and 255 in the same exact ciphers as Reading Mastery 2. In Gematria, Reading Mastery 2 equals 177 English. George Walker Bush, 177 English. The Jesuit Order, 177 English. The Old Serpent, 177 English. New World Order, 177 English. Note, English ordinal cipher is simply A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. All those words have the same numerical value in the same cipher. That, my friend, is no coincidence. On top of that, the story The Pet Goat was located on page 153 of Reading Mastery 2 in Gematria. The Pet Goat equals 153 in reverse ordinal. Jesuit Order, 153 in reverse ordinal. The Illuminati, 153 in English ordinal. Once again, no coincidences, friend. The producer of the well-known Pet Goat is Heliofont. Heliofont equals, you guessed it, 153 in reverse. Jesuit Order, 153 in reverse. Note, reverse cipher is simply A equals 26, B equals 25, C equals 24. Heliofont Pet Goat equals 201 in English. The Jesuit Order, 201 in English. That old serpent, 201 English. Remember, event 201, question mark? If that wasn't enough, Pet Goat equals 666 in English, Sumerian. Have no fellowship with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but instead expose them, Ephesians 5:11, Jim Bob. In a time of great deception, Gematria can be used to help wake up others. How is that not valuable at the time when MOTB is being administered and the beast system is being introduced? Do you even care about exposing the darkness and waking up others? What do you all care about on this channel?
Okay, so what he actually did there was he read somebody else's comment who watched when I was on his show, Gematria. And ever since I went on there, he's been making little Gematria videos. I think that's it. He probably talks about it more in some of these things. But yeah, it's just, again, I mean, this is another guy. And you can see, I mean, he is a little bit, he's good at making videos. And he does, he's a little bit funny. But it's just like, I know what his belief system is. He's just another one of these Christian people who thinks all he needs to do is believe in Jesus. And again, I mean, you start listening to it, it's like really selfish viewpoint. Because when I was on there, I was like, so you don't think we need to help out other people? He's like, that's not my problem. It's just, we all need to find Jesus. It's like, well, I guess Jesus was all about himself, huh? That's what I remember learning in school. Jesus was just all about himself. He wasn't worried about others. That's why, I mean, just these people, I mean, that's why my favorite bumper sticker is God, or what is it? How does it go? Something about save me from your Jesus followers. It's just like, please, people are the worst. People are the worst. But yeah, I mean, the guy's an intelligent guy and he knows how to make a video. He could be helpful. But instead, he just wants to mock. And that's why all these people that are about Jesus, I mean, they're just disingenuous people. And they're disingenuous in the name of Jesus. So that right there is also one of the big revealers to me that Jesus couldn't possibly be, if Jesus was the truth, his followers wouldn't be such shitty people. Thank you, Joe Warsaw. I appreciate that. Yeah, very, very good quote from Mark Twain. 1,000,000% true. I appreciate that. It's easier to fool a person than to convince them they've been fooled. 1,000,000%. Mark Twain's got a lot of things that were very true. And I see you also gave another super chat. Thank you, Jill Warsaw. See, some people are just too generous. She said she wanted to donate more, and I said, you already done enough. You said you donated $100. I mean, to me, if you ever donate $100 to me, that's a lifetime donation. All I ever ask you guys to donate is $1 a month. And, I mean, you donate $1 a month. To donate $100, you would have to be following me for 8 years and 4 months. So, yeah. And by the way, what would make me happy is if by the end of the year, and maybe the problem is like those of you who do watch my video, you already do support the work and we're not reaching any new people because of all the censorship. But at the beginning of the year, there were 6,000 people about pledging $1. And over the course of the year, it's gone down to 4,000. Now that football season's back, I have it back to 5,000 because people care a lot more about their football picks than changing the world. But, yeah, if we could get it back to 6,000, I'd feel good about that because then I wouldn't feel like it was a net loss for the year. It's like I never done more in a single year, and I've always done a ton every single day the whole time I've been here. But I mean, I did a lot this year. It was a very expensive year, all the traveling, and to just watch the support go down. I know it's been a tough year financially, but God, it's just $1 a month, man. It's like you should still budget that $1. So I'll tell you what, too, it would be helpful because I brought up to Sweet Lady last night that I want to go down to LA on January 26th. And she's like, why? Why do you want to go down there? She's like, you've seen that going out has not helped you spread the work. It hasn't brought in more people. It hasn't brought in more support. So she's like, so why do you want to go down there again? I was like, well, I haven't been down to LA yet. But yeah, again, it would be more encouraging if going out and doing these things was making the work and the movement bigger. Somebody's shifting $2.97 to buy a beer. I don't really drink, and but I'll buy a kombucha. Because that's about the price of a kombucha. By the way, just to close out with a health tip, you guys know what kombucha is, right? Kombucha, fermented food. This should also be part of your diet. I spelled it wrong. There's an M in there. But kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, there's other fermented foods. But you guys, it's really important to eat things like this or drink things like this because they clean out your intestines. They have good bacteria in them that gets in your intestinal tract, and it helps clean out your body. So, yeah, instead of spending money on, well, again, plain tea, plain coffee, those things are good for you too. But when you start putting sugar in it, then it becomes unhealthy. And then it creates the bad bacteria in your gut, which most people have way too much of. So to reverse that, and you don't have to drink it all at once, You don't have to drink it all at once. You can have, like, some people don't like kombucha because it's kind of strong and tart and bitter. Just like, fermented foods, some people don't like them because they have strong smell, strong flavor, but they're good for you. So again, when you hear make food your medicine, this is another type of thing to have in your supply. And again, you don't have to drink the whole thing at once. I mean, you can get a kombucha, which is probably around $3, and drink it in 4 sittings, 5 sittings. Just get a little bit in there. So shout out to Ginger Johnson, who chipped in 10 on the Venmo. I appreciate that. Thank you. Somebody's like, Zach does, watch, that'll be the next video made about me. Zach does drink. I heard that he had some drinks when he was in New York with other truth seekers. Okay, that was the last time I had a drink. And before that, I can't remember the time I had a drink before that. But yeah, I don't really drink, but when in Rome, sometimes I will. Well, in Oklahoma City, I felt bad because I turned down a drink from Frank the Truth Tank, and then I felt guilty about that. So we made up in New York. We had a drink in New York. Anyway. Yeah. All right, you guys, we got off on all kinds of different topics and tangents, and this stream actually ended up being long, but I guess I just had to blow off some steam. But seriously, if you got here late, watch the beginning of the video and just share that information with your friends and family. Go home. When you talk to your friends and family, say, don't you think it's weird that World War II started in 1939 in Poland, and they've been comparing Putin to Hitler all year, and now he attacks Poland 39 days after his birthday, especially since at the beginning of the year, on March 9th, we sent weapon systems to Poland because of Russia-Ukraine. Thanks, Itachi. Itachi had a big week this week. He says, huge week. Thanks for the knowledge. I say you raise the price to $10 come NFL season. They'd give the NFL 100, but won't give you 10. Pathetic. Yeah, I always do debate on raising the price, but I just don't want to raise the price because it's just such an entry-level price. I want people to find the knowledge and information, but then sometimes I have these swine leaving comments, and I'm just like, well, I bet if the price had been higher, that swine would have never joined, and then I'd feel better. But yeah, it's just like we had a really great NFL Week 10, and then people weren't happy about Monday Night Football because my notes for the game said essentially leave the game alone because, there wasn't, again, I didn't see any evidence that the Eagles would cover the spread if they won, but it's just like, just getting shitty emails because people aren't happy that I didn't pick the Redskins to win on Monday night. I mean, then again, Johnny, who's a veteran, he went with the notes and he thought it was worth the risk on the Redskins. And maybe in my conclusion, I should have wrote that they were worth the risk because they did have quite a bit of a narrative with the whole 47 thing. But I just went with, there were what, 6 games that I liked this week in the NFL and they all won. So then to be writing a mail complaining about how we should have won on Monday Night Football too, it's like, well, dude, did you follow the NBA information? Because that information was 7-0. It's like I didn't get any nice email about thanks for the NBA, Zach, but I got a few emails this morning and messages about, dude, you totally missed on how much we could have made with the Washington game. And it's just like, God. It's just like you feel like you're helping out fucking losers. It's like, okay, I just helped you win a bunch of money on Sunday and Monday, and sure, we could have won even more had I been more confident in Washington staying on 47 losses on the day, leaving 47 days left in the year. In hindsight, I probably should have went with that. But instead, I pretty much wrote, leave the game alone. So, I mean, you could have been like, you know what? I see a lot of value there. And you could have bet on it like Johnny did. But yeah, it's just that's the kind of stuff that annoys me. It's like, God, I'm doing all this fucking work. I'm helping these people win. And then it's not enough. It's like, my God, fucking losers. So, yeah, like Chigozi just said. Because they are losers, Zach. They are, man. And it's just like, God, these are not the people that deserve this information. Oh, sorry, I didn't help you win enough this weekend. God. Like, if I charged $5,000 a month and made you sign an NDA, then I could accept some emails like that. I'd be like, you know what? I do charge them $5,000 a month. But no, that's not the case. The case is I just helped you win like every fucking day almost for the last 2 weeks. And then, sure, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, I didn't think the same. Here's what else I'll tell you that bothered me yesterday. I was having the thought all day about, God, streaks end so much on 14 because the word end equals 14. Could the Eagles winning streak? For people who want to know why I didn't go with Washington, the underdog. And again, understand, I didn't pick the Eagles to win. That's not what my note said. My note said there's no evidence that the Eagles will cover the spread. I said the spread looks iffy. It's pretty much just a game to leave alone. But the thing is, streaks end in connection to 14 all the time because the word is end is 14. And the Eagles had not lost a game this year. So they were on an 8-game winning streak. Their streak did end. And the thing, though, that I honestly thought, though, in my mind, I thought it was more likely that they would let the Eagles get to 9-0 because Monday equals 90 and it's their 90th NFL season. Plus, Washington is wearing a patch on their uniform that says 90 this year. So I was thinking that's where they would probably go with it. But yeah, in hindsight, if I'd rewritten the conclusion, I'd said, this game is worth a parlay multiplier because you could have got a ton of value out of. Had you put $5 down on Washington and put them with the 6 picks that we like for the week that all came through, you would have made like $200 off a $5 bet. And you know what? People did do that in the community because they don't need me to write out every last fucking instruction for them. So I was just trying to lead people to games that looked solid and good and had good value, and I did do that, but. Again, it is annoying. That's also why I'll go away from sports decoding because it's like you have good days and you're not really hearing, like, there are people that are happy and that's why they support and stick around and contribute. But all you hear about mostly in the communication from the people you're giving the information to is just negative, shitty bullshit, and it's just like, God, people are taxing. All right, hold on, one more call and we'll wrap this thing up. 678.
What up, Zach?
What's up?
Hey, man, there was a whole Kobe ritual going on with that game, too, because remember in the first game that they played, Washington and Philly?
I talked about that. I made a video this morning. Yeah, because the Eagles did fall to 8-1 and 4-1 at home, and Kobe Bryant's 41 and Kobe Bryant's 81. And again, it's connected. No doubt it's connected to Biden, too, because President Biden's 81 with his 81 million votes, and he's from Pennsylvania, but yeah, that's what it was. So.
Yeah, just wanted to point out. I thought you saw it. I thought you were on it. So.
Yeah, I honestly did look at that, and it's just the 90 thing was standing out more to me because it's the Eagles' 90th season. So. I wish it would have been instead that the Eagles could have fallen to 9-1 on Monday Night Football. I would have been all over that because they've been going 91 crazy with the Washington Commanders in their 91st season. But yeah, I see the 81 thing. So, but that's the point too. I mean, you guys who know the information, you guys saw it and you probably bet on it. So
yeah, I did.
Yeah, so that's why the person who's crying to me in the email who knows the information, it's like, well, what? Do you only make the decision if I'm also on board? You can't make decisions yourself. So.
But exactly, but they should have saw it from the first game because why would the score be 8-24? Like you should. I mean, that's what led me.
Yeah, you're right. I overlooked that. In hindsight, it's so obvious, but yeah, you're right. They did the Kobe thing in the first game.
It was too obvious. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're in the community, like you got to use your own head and apply the knowledge. Like, I mean, come on, man. How can you not see that? I mean, you didn't see it, but I'm just saying, how did they not, the community not see it is what I'm saying.
Well, the people who saw it did win on it.
Can't help people, man.
Yeah. Johnny's liked it. He bet $1,000 on it, so.
Yeah. Good shit, John.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, that's all I wanted, man. Take care.
Yeah, take care. Appreciate it. Yeah. Again, they do keep paying tribute to Kobe in the Philadelphia sports, and a part of me wonders if he's the Wizardnard. Remember the Wizardnard series is now that he's dead. It's like, is this guy even really fucking dead? Maybe Kobe got to go behind the screens and be like that 1968 show Newsbenders. He gets to write the sports scripts now. He's like, I'm doing another tribute to myself. So. But yeah, that is the beauty of this knowledge. I mean, you can win at sports. You can win at calling elections. Big Al yesterday, before they called it for Hobbs in Arizona, he was telling his coworker. His coworker thought Kerry Lake was winning, and he said, no, it's not going to be Kerry Lake. It's going to be Hobbs, and the reason why is because the election was 51 days from her birthday, and governor's 51. And, Big Al's been showing him the receipts for a lot of years, winning in the sports book, and then, making calls like that. Big Al's down there in Arizona. And sure enough, now his coworker's got to eat some more crow because Big Al's right again. It's not Kerry Lake. It's Hobbs. So, Yeah, the word wizard is 81. Yep. Yep. It's all covered in the book, Number Games, 9/11, and Coronavirus. There's the whole chapter on Kobe's death. So, in that chapter, I talk about how LA and Philadelphia are the 118 cities. Kobe encoded the 118 in his book. He's got the Philly-LA connection. That's why at the beginning of the year in MLB, we thought, you know, who was going to represent the National League would either be the Phillies or the Dodgers, and it was absolutely the Phillies. So. Here, let me see if I can give you a wrench. I'm not. So the problem is right now for Alex in Minnesota, the next time I'm in a live stream, well, I should say the next time because I'm doing a lot of live streams from here. I cannot give you a wrench right now. All I can do on this drop-down menu is block you, and I won't do that. It's because I'm not in the YouTube studio. I'm streaming through StreamYard, and when you're in StreamYard, it's a little bit different. It doesn't give you the option to make moderators. So, well, I would say there's a good chance that World War III is just on the horizon. It's a big ritual today what they're doing with Poland. So we'll see what the response is. We'll see what the response is. All right, Truth Seeker, we're going to leave it there. If you guys got here late, watch the beginning of the stream because that's what the actual video was supposed to be about. And then we got off on all kinds of topics. Till next time, Truth Seeker.